person who I was working with, 6 months I worked with that person ended up becoming an angel investor in my company. When he got to know that I'm leaving, he asked me why I was starting a company. He said, I want to invest. Like, I have no idea, nothing, no revenues, nothing. And I want to invest.
First of all, 6 months no business, and this lockdown has happened. I don't know what it is. So I am not sure whether I will be even able to pay you guys. And to my surprise, it's happened that then the salary happened. I made the transfers, and they were like, I was not even expecting it.
Salary is not coming, it's not actionable. What you can do to get it is actionable.
During my childhood, when I was growing also, there were not a lot of girls who were doing a lot over there. Like my mom was a teacher, so she was like, you have to do something, you have to stand on your feet, because there is nobody, like in this hometown, particularly in my hometown, nobody was doing much. I was the only girl from my hometown who actually got into IIT Delhi. So that was, I think, a proud moment for my parents also that time, and I think they supported me a lot during that entire journey.
I was a backbencher who was good in studies. So all my friends, they had to repeat their 12th, but that's a different thing. I was like that. I used to get scolded a lot, but whenever there used to be a parent-teacher meeting, they used to praise me a lot.
Right, so welcome to Founders Fund Network. We have Shailendra and Rupika, who are the founders of Code Young, EdTech startup. I will not mention anything further but to hear it from themselves. If I can start with you, Shailendra. So if you can give us a little background, where are you from and how did you start Code Young?
Sure. So yeah, I have had a very small professional journey till now, I'll say. So before Code Young, I graduated in 2018 from IIT Delhi. And just like any other graduate, I just chose a job on the campus. And then idea was like, I'll just like to give you some background, like how was my college and how was life before that. So I come from Gwalior. Very simple life, very lower middle class and middle class families they live there in Gwalior. Parents came from a nearby village, migrated to Gwalior, and there I was born and brought up. I did my schooling there. In 9th, I was quite good in studies. Not like exceptionally well, but somewhere like there was a weird thing that I used to get scolded a lot in school. Really, really a lot. Like they used to send me out of the class. And
even though you were good in studies?
Yes. I was a backbencher who was good in studies. So all my friends, they had to repeat their 12th, but that's a different thing. So I was like that. I used to get scolded a lot, but whenever there used to be a parent-teacher meeting, they used to praise me a lot. So that was a kind of life I was living, and quite energetic, and I was genuinely very interested in science and maths. In 9th, I heard that there's a thing called IIT. IIT, and it's very difficult to get into. So in school, you get like what? Even if you get 6th, 7th rank, 8th rank, you feel like, oh, didn't do well. There, people are saying even if you get 4,000, 3,000, you are a different level person. So different breed. So I was like, what is this exam where you get like 3,000, 4,000 rank and people start worshipping you? So that was the idea. In 9th, 10th, I realized that, I really want to do something. One thing that happened is that I started liking science in general, because at that time I also kind of became a person, thoda sa introvert, and I started reading a lot, random books, not just school books, but anything that came in my way. And I started realizing that actually this thing I understand well, like maths, physics, I understand well. If I put some effort, I'm good at this naturally. And that's when I decided, okay, I'll try for IIT. My parents were a little against it. They were saying, we don't believe in putting in so much pressure to the kids. And that's a very different thing, like a parent will say, but they will say...
Was that because your parents are educated, or did they do a formal education?
Actually not. They never went through formal education. My dad went till graduation, but never completed it. He started his own business. But that's how he is. He believes that you should just do your best. They never used to compare me with other kids. That's why whatever marks was also coming, like whatever I was studying on my own, and I was just getting, and I was just lucky, or I'll say that naturally I was getting decent marks.
You're the only son?
Yeah, I'm the only son. So yeah, they were like a little bit against it, but I was like, no, I want to do it. And that's when I just got a form from a coaching class. There was a very competitive coaching class there, very low fee, but they were very competitive and one of the best. So I just gave my exams. I think I was the only one who got selected from my school, even though I was not the best student in my school. But somewhere I had that kind of mindset. Maybe in school I'm not so eager to write big essays on memorizing answers, but I was like always liked, especially physics. It was my BTech course also, that I really liked to have that practical understanding of things. Like even in business, I never believe in jargons. Like if you can really, really understand things from a very basic perspective, it's good enough. Just
Common sense,
simple applied common sense. And sometimes common sense is not so simple, and it's not so common. That's because we get so many theories and so many ideas on this. If you can just think about things from the first principles, at least have that thinking. And of course, you might be missing on some parts which other people can fill in. But start with that. Start with proper common sense. So that was the idea back then also. And I was good in solving numericals and all. I got into that coaching, worked hard, got a certain rank, got into IIT Delhi along with 12th. And I was not that kid who was sure to get into IIT. I was not that kid. I was somewhere on the border. So worked really hard and somehow got into it. And yeah, that was really transformational for me. And I came as a typical person who has not seen a lot of the world, and came to college. There you will meet people from DBS Arkepuram and these kind of top Doon school. But of course, there were people who were even from the tribal villages of the Rajasthan. So that also gave me a good perspective. I saw that broad social class in one place, and they were bound by a single thing, that they were all hardworking and all ambitious. So that was a very amazing time, and I think the 4 years really transformed me. I understood what I like, what I don't like. I loved physics, that's why I chose physics as my engineering physics was my course. So I did that. I first 2 years was just exploring myself, and I realized that I really like work on meaningful things with team. That's something I really like. I got very much interested in social services. So I was never into dance, drama, music, because in school it was never there. And kind of family I come in, it was never a thing. So, but I really enjoy. Recently we did an event in a company also. But I really enjoy, but I was never part of it. In fact, instead of that, I become part of this social services group who were doing some amazing things. Like, you just come out of college, come out of school, you are actually a kid. First time you're adulting, like college is all about adulting. And I was seeing that we were kids, but we all are doing these amazing things. We are going into this slum and running this weekend tuition program. We are going and...
It was a part of your curriculum.
Yeah, it was part of a curriculum. Okay. And you can do it as a...
and you didn't have to raise money for it.
No, it was not like it. Ultimately, what we had is that every time you get into IIT or any other college, you have to choose one of the three things: NCC, NSS and NSO. So just like that, we had NSS. But here, NSS was being handled by students only, who were generating these volunteering opportunities for other kids. So right now, what we have is like 5,000, 6,000 volunteering hours, which we have to get utilized in a meaningful way. And that was our responsibility, that these hours are not being wasted, just somebody's getting credit. These are really making some impact. So that was the idea, and I got involved with them.
Which year was this? You started IIT?
2014, I started.
Plus, and 4 years.
Yes, 4 years I spent there, and I think that was a very transformative journey. Cut long story short, I came out of there with a lot of perspective about what do I like, what I don't like. Did even a bit of research also, and I really enjoyed that. I still follow a lot of like what is going on in physics, what is going on in solid state physics, and some subjects I still like. But I really understood, okay, what do I want in life, and then graduated from there. Graduated with good self-awareness, I'll say. Self-awareness was something that I feel very good that I could really get a good level of self-awareness in that time. Okay, what do I want, what do I don't want, and why. And second is a bit comfort with people. Like, even though I'm kind of a middle of introvert and extrovert, but I really don't feel shy of entering a room with 100 strangers. I really don't feel shy. But I'll definitely, spend my own alone time also. I really enjoy. So that is something that I came across, and I really started thinking, what do I like, what do I don't like. And 1.5 years I worked with some unconventional roles, and started the company. So that is roughly my journey. Yeah, coding I started with something, thinking something, knowing very little. You just see 2 steps ahead. That's how you start the companies.
Coding was which year?
Is 2019 end.
19 end. So
Yeah,
2000.
almost 2020 start January.
Yeah.
So 2018 to 19, you said you have some formal experience. You also worked.
Yeah.
So what was that journey? Where and how?
So I was like on campus. There were different kind of jobs that were coming. I didn't know how to code, even though I really wanted to learn. But because of I was so busy in so many things, I could never really get into how to learn to code. Then there were some consulting roles and different kind of roles were there. So I actually got a role in a company called Next Education. It's based in Hyderabad. It's into education only, and I just chose that because I am in general a very person like who's not very choosy about things. I just like to see what's coming in my way and just make the best out of it. So a job came, I joined, but for some reason I just left the job after 2 months because
After 2 months.
after 2 months.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because this is also one interesting thing, relevant to all the people who are working in a startup.
Right.
That I was always very passionate, kind of, high energy individual during my college. Like whatever I did like I'm I'll say next Nelson Mandela. That's the kind of energy I used to put in whatever I did. And I thought academics is one side, but this is my strength. I really understood this is my strength to running initiatives.
Was it a silent energy or was it very visible? The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you communicate with team members?
If you come in my radius, then it's all very loud. But if you stay a little distance, then you will feel like I'm a very calm and chill person. So that is the case. But when I joined the company, I was also went that okay, we have to do this. But somehow I realized nobody is really thinking that way. Everybody is just coming here to make a job and just going back, which is fine. I don't judge them right now. But as a young person, I really felt it's not the place to be. I really want to.
In 2 months, you didn't feel the space or the work that they do inspiring enough, something like that?
Exactly, I think. Like they were doing, but the day-to-day activities were not really. Intensity was not there. The intensity I was
What
looking.
would happen if somebody who is very skillful, somebody is experienced, somebody is wanting to do a lot, but you give him a data entry job, for example?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
And that person just takes up the job. Or, I mean, I'm just trying to understand from all of us is that why didn't you push the management or couldn't you push the managers and that I will do this, I will do that, but leaving was the only option? Or how did you, I mean, or it's based on only that it was not inspiring enough?
No. I actually, as I said, I'm a very open person, and I think we all should be very open. We should not be very judging. So I was also not very judging, even though I joined the company and some people left in the first week itself. I was saying, no, give these people some time. And I had multiple discussions. So suppose you are being asked to do some work, and everything cannot be like, I'll tell you, even as founder right nowadays, I take the most boring thing I take to myself. Most boring thing, because you do this. I'll take the most boring stuff. I'll do it. Because for me, nothing is boring as long as it's about the company. So at that time also, I really had these discussions to see, currently we are doing this. What's the path? How can we do this? But I think now I can understand in the inside that company was also going through something where they were also confused. Now I can understand. And unfortunately, we might also have done that with some people, like what was done with me. So I gave it enough time, and I think 1 month I gave, 1.5 months I gave. It was a traveling job. And I think once I, really talked to my friends, and I was feeling a little demotivated. And I think my friends can be really big support. Along with family, I think friends are, be it at your workplace or be it your college friends. So I just talked to them. I came to Bangalore only. Earlier my job was in Gurgaon. And they said, Shailendra, and these were the people who were very talented. Like they were working in Goldman Sachs and these kind of companies. And of course, Rupika was in Flipkart at that time. And they were very, very smart. Like I used to consider them like they're very, very talented and smart people. They told me that, Shailendra, see, we know you, and not saying you just to make you feel good, but we are very sure that you will do something very good. We can bet our life on it. And if you're not feeling like it, you choose something else, and just go for it. So that's when I decided, it's time to move on. I know I wanted to support them, I wanted to really help them, but I really felt it's time to move on, and it happened after a certain discussion with the team. See, this is, and they also agreed that they are a little unsure right now. what's our path. We did
From that company to Code Young, there was any other job that you did?
exactly, yeah. So that was a very unconventional thing. So I started looking for jobs. I got multiple interview opportunities, multiple offers. So I think I was in the final stage of a company called.
Was it difficult being from IIT Delhi? I mean, you are invited to interviews or?
No, no. You are just out of college. You don't know what's the value. Today I'll say after 3-4 years, like I'm seeing my friends switching the job. Sometimes I don't like it because I'm also an employer. I feel bad. Okay, why are you doing with this company? Like payday is the most happiest moment for them, and so I don't like what do they do, but I see that they move around very easily. But that time you don't know. You just out of college. Nobody in your family has done this kind of job, and yeah, I was a bit scared. What will happen? But I just did what I did. I signed up on 5 job portals, just randomly spammed, and I thought it's a conversion rate. Top of the funnel banate hain.
And
And
you were able to get very quickly?
not,
Was there a big gap?
yes, it was not a big gap. It took me around a month,
Okay.
but it happened very suddenly. So I'll tell you a very interesting story what happened. I got an offer from BCG at that time. Final stage में आना है आपको. But
BCG?
BCG, yeah,
Okay.
in Gurgaon. But then other call I got, a random guy called me. Okay, and he said कि hey, I saw your profile and this and that, this that. Okay, might be an HR or might be something. Then he said कि चल एक case study करते हैं. Let's do a case study. He did a case study right and then. I was not ready. I just woke up and I got a call and just taking the case study was something about it. I thought from the again first principles. Just first principle. I never did any kind of practice or something. Just first principle कि एक app है उस पे नए users आ रहे हैं पर लोग रुक नहीं रहे. What will you solve? मैं कहा recommendation. Simple सा. Because I just thought कि why I get stuck on YouTube because next video recommendation. So and on that call only he gave me an offer. He come. But he told me, see, I am a single person. I work for a company based in Brisbane, and I want a person to work with me. Have you heard of company of hostels or rooms? I go, I heard, I used it. I am one of the co-founders of that. I moved out of the company. And I go, okay, I'll be working directly with an entrepreneur. The pay was less. There was not a formal offer letter, nothing. That I went there and I created myself and got it signed. Nothing was there. I'm telling you, nothing. Like replacement. Like nowadays, people think कि वो क्या होता है उसको that relocation stipend or something like that. Nothing was there. You just come. I just booked a flight and came. Like no guarantee, nothing. But I was just excited with the idea that finally I'll work with someone who has built a company. Because I had a lot of friends who were trying to build a company. Some failed, some never started. But I was directly working with a person who has built a company. And company which I use. I didn't mean $100 billion or something. Some company which I use. Also was very, even today they have amazing spaces. So that was the idea. And that was, I'll say, these are the kind of decisions that even define a journey. So I just went there and this guy gave me like everything, anything and everything which came. I did hiring for them. I did even some bit of design for them. I did a little bit of product management. I did data analysis, learned everything. And then we started working with some other companies also as a team. Then this guy once sent me, in 3 weeks we are starting with a client. Okay, they will need help in Google Ads. I never heard about Google Ads. So I started learning about it and reading about it. And in one of the meetings during these 3 weeks, this guy claimed, my manager claimed that this guy is expert in Google Ads. So
Just learning from Google.
yeah, and I was just learning.
Is it half an hour already or what?
Already.
Yeah,
Sorry if this is disturbing.
no problem. Yeah, I just heard. So what happened is that so this kind of things. Now I have a pressure. I have to prove that I'm an expert in Google Ads. But actually, you know what? I got them results.
Okay.
So much so that the person who I was working with, in 6 months I worked with that person. That person ended up becoming an angel investor in my company. When he got to know that I'm leaving, and he asked me why, I was starting a company. Okay, I want to invest. Like, I have no idea, nothing, no revenues, nothing. And I want to invest. Like, so
They invest in a founder.
yes.
Early stages.
And so that was the thinking, in 3 weeks if I can make someone believe that I am expert in Google Ads and get them results.
Okay, that company, how long were you there?
I was, total I worked with this person for 1.5 years.
Wow.
I worked till November 2019.
Okay.
But I learned a lot, and I think that was the unconventional role. I think I had a lot of 7 days working, very very stressful times. But I knew that kind of things I'm handling, other people don't even get to see.
Was it 7 days working plus long hours?
Some days 7 days working, some days 6 days working, and long hours. Yes, long hours. So, but the quality of work was also very good. It was very challenging. Like I learned everything on a very fast track, and somewhere could get results also. So that also kind of made me believe about my own capability. And second thing is, because he gave me so much exposure about hiring also. Right. Just make an account on Indeed and hire people. What's the problem? Right. I'll get interviews, make a criteria for interview. Everything I did. There's so much information available on Google that if you just trust yourself and trust your common sense, you can do anything. So that was the idea, and that's what gave me a lot of confidence that I'll do it. If I will believe in some idea, I'll do it. And I think, that is how it was. That is how it's going now. Company is teaching me a lot. I'm a very different person from the day I started the company. And really have a good team and learning from the team. So yeah, entrepreneurship is a different journey altogether. Along with that energy, there's a lot of patience. There's a lot of I'll say, a lot of control on things. Even if you have to show and like put fire somewhere, that also is done in a controlled manner. So today, there's a lot of learning that has gone through. But yeah, that is what built me in a person who could start a company and had the confidence to start a company, even during COVID. Like before COVID we started, but COVID came and we didn't give up. People were saying don't jump now. मैंने कहा नहीं, अब कर दिया तो you won't back out.
So as we speak, I am getting a lot of questions, follow-up questions on IIT days versus the companies that you worked and how you dealt. But I'll quickly move to Rupika. So if you can share where are you from and what happened before before Kodiang.
So mine is a very different story. Like we were in the same college, but before that it was a completely different story. So I am from Haryana. So it's a very small town in Haryana. And like during my childhood, when I was growing also, there were not a lot of girls who were doing a lot over there. Like my mom was a teacher. So she was like, you have to do something. You have to stand on your feet, because there is nobody like in this hometown, particularly in my hometown, nobody was doing much. So I remember I was the only girl, I think, who went to Kota for preparation in IIT Delhi and for preparation for IIT. And then I was the only girl from my hometown who actually got into IIT Delhi. So that was, I think, a proud moment for my parents also that time. And I think they supported me a lot during that entire journey.
So your parents knew about IIT Delhi. Yeah, like my parents don't know what IIMs are, what IITs are. So your parents also knew that like IIT and IIMs exist.
Just my father knew.
Okay. So your parents knew, or might be the kids tell them.
Yeah. So during that entire like school time, so I was actually the first ranker in school. So actually a lot of teachers used to say, "Ki, what will she do? So she should do something great. Like she should go out to study, etc." Because there were not a lot of opportunities over there in terms of colleges, etc. Nothing. So then like my mom started discussing with the peers. Like she was a government teacher, so she started discussing with the peers. Somewhere she got to know, ki, acha, there is something called IIT. Like there is a good exam of engineering. I wanted to be an engineer because a lot of people and a lot of my cousins became engineer at that time. So I thought engineering is something very cool. I want to become an engineer. But then when it came to this thing, engineering mein engineer kya karna hai, kya nahi karna hai, and then we got to know that there is an exam and people go to Kota for studying, etc. Then my mom was like, I want to send her. So she has been an inspiration in my life. So she was like, I want to send her and she will do something. My dad was like, I'm not sure कि हम कुछ कर पाएंगे नहीं कर पाएंगे, because we live in a very small town, and how things will work around, because there will be a lot of smart kids over there, and how will she compete? But then she had that confidence कि she can do it and she should go. So somewhere there in 11th I actually went to Kota, and then 2 years I studied there. After that I luckily got into IIT Delhi, and along with whatever hard work I've put in. Then after that, I think during college it has been a similar kind of experience because Shailendra and I met in college in second year. So we met through NSS only. So we actually both were part of NSS. So NSS mein what happens is in the initial 1 year you're just volunteering, like you're just going to a lot of projects. So there are multiple social events which happen, social projects are there, like in education or in health tech, etc. So we just actually met over there, and then we started managing that entire project. So Shailendra was, I think, managing that slum project. I was managing another project over there. So over there we met, and then we found that there are a lot of interest which are in terms of matching, because we wanted to do something. We liked managing people, we liked talking to people, interacting with people. So there we met. I was in textile actually. So I went to IIT Delhi. I chose IIT Delhi for the exposure which I could get over there versus something else, and it was actually close to my hometown. So my parents was like, you should not go very far, you just stay close to your hometown. So that's where I chose IIT. And then after 4 years, it was a typical, like I got a job in Flipkart from campus placement, and then I was working in Flipkart for 2 years.
Flipkart as? What domain?
I joined as a business analyst. So from textile I got into a business analyst profile, because generally IITs mein aisa hota hai, you don't go into your core, so you do a lot of things. So I did management mein, there was a course in management, so multiple courses I did, and then minor degree I did in management, and then after that I got a good opportunity in Flipkart. I felt, और मेरे को कभी ऐसे नहीं था that I want to start something. I was like कि अच्छा ठीक है, I came to IIT, I got a good job, now I want to do a good job peacefully. So that was my idea, like this entrepreneurship and this starting something was completely out of my mind during that time. Then I came to Flipkart, and I think that experience of 2 years actually transformed me completely.
So this was early stages of Flipkart itself?
No. It was actually
2010,
2018.
right?
18.
Flipkart was 2010, I think. They started Flipkart.
Yeah. Seven.
Yeah. So, okay, so Flipkart was quite mature at that time.
Yeah, it was quite mature. I think Walmart acquisition also happened. So after that I joined. But I think the culture was pretty great over there, because you could learn a lot of things. You got a lot of accountability, even at that scale. Matlab, you got a lot of accountability and ownership during that time. So I joined, and I was just put into a lot of projects where I directly had to go and talk to multiple brands. So I was handling 2-3 brands in TV category, and I was actually talking to the CEOs of that brands directly. And I was thinking, I'm such a young person, like I just graduated from college, and this kind of opportunity I got in, and I was actually doing a lot of things over there. So that's where I got the exposure that okay, I can also do something, and that kind of sense of ownership, ki it is your brand, you have to make that grow on the platform, etc. Actually, so that was the experience which completely transformed me, ki okay, you can do something. Then I think this is a very interesting story how we both started Codeyoung. So Shailendra came to me in 2019. We used to meet a lot, like because we had a big friend circle, so in Bangalore. And he came to meet in November, I think. November when he was starting, he just called me one day and told, I'm starting a company, like I'm starting something. And I was like, okay. I was somewhere busy, so I told, okay, we'll talk later. I'll meet you on weekend or something. And that's how it ended. And then after that, he just met me someday over the weekend and told, I'm doing this. Would you be interested to join in, or would you be interested? But that time, this idea of teaching coding to kids in itself, I was thinking, how will things work out? Because if you tell anybody that we want to teach coding to kids, you will only think, coding itself is such a tough thing, because we have that perception in mind. So how will it actually play out? How will it actually work out? So during that time, I was not very convinced. I told, okay, I'll think about it. I talked to some people, and I told, I don't want to start something right now. I don't think I'm ready yet to start something, and I'm not sure whether this idea I believe in or not.
You had a clarity that he's asking you to become a co-founder at that time?
Yeah. He asked me to become a co-founder.
Did you ask a question, will you be able to match my salary at Flipkart?
No, that was something secondary only.
Okay.
But the first thing that whether I actually want to do something like this, leave a job and then do something, because I felt, this is so tough for me. How will I handle pressure? How will I handle things? And how will things work out? That was the first idea. Second, I was thinking whether I'm sure this idea will work or not. So that was like conviction for that particular idea. So these were the two things. Then I think in December, November 15th, 16th, he started, and then he was just in early stages, like doing something, making a website, etc. And on December 5th, he just called me, it's weekend, can you come down? I need some help. We need to do some calls and talk to some people and get some trainers on board. I went. I thought it's fine, it's a Sunday. I was
You went to
also.
help?
I went to help. Then, and I remember we did our first demo, like first demo class for a kid. And that, like, I saw that happiness in the kid, and I felt, yeah, such a value we can create out of this particular thing. Just giving I think, a demo class, and the kid felt, yeah, we can do wonders. So that was the changing moment, one changing moment. But I did not tell anything because I was not very sure कि करना है नहीं करना है. Then I think 1 month, 1.5 months later, we started selling. So I remember we saw first customer ko we sold the, like, first person who took the demo, parent and the kid was so happy that they enrolled for the program. And we both started creating something. Ki chalo theek hai, we'll create a program for them. We'll do something for them. And then in January mid, that the same kid was so excited ki what is next for me. And I felt so much value we have created for that kid, like just by teaching some coding. And I felt ki how coding can be helpful, how
How
coding
old
can...
was the kid, you said?
I think it was 7 or 8 years old.
No, he was class 6. He was in class.
Acha, 10 years
Class
old.
six, okay.
10 years old. So
And by this time, you're still in Flipkart. January.
I was in Flipkart, and I was coming on weekends to help and actually so
And slowly you don't know you are getting sold to a vision.
yeah. Slowly I did not know, and then and I after that I remember that we never talked that I want to join. I just told him one day that I'm leaving my job in Flipkart, and then we started. So that's how our journey, like both of us, has been. So he had that idea, he had that conviction on that idea, and I think I was being sold by the experience of the kids and the parents, which were and the kind of product which we were able to deliver. And during that 2 months, we were able to create that kind of product. So that has been a very interesting, I think, story for me because, and I also felt one was an idea, and second was whether I'll be able to do it or not, because that was another point. So there I actually felt that I was enjoying it so much that I did not realize ki what are the challenges coming up, because every day we were creating something new. We were just into, what will the child learn or what will the kid actually enjoy? We just have to build for that. And what will the parent want? We just have to build for that. So that's where we never realized ki what kind of challenges are coming in. We just kept building, and then things slowly
By this time, it was not even scalable, or probably that part of the tech being scalable was also not worked on. Might be it's very early stage.
It was very early stage. Like I think we just made a program of a 24 session program, very simple program for the kid. And we both only created everything. That time we did not have a team member also. We had one designer, I think, along with us. So we 3 people in a single room, we were just sitting and then creating. So that was the time.
And in how many months you kind of left? Like Feb, March?
Yeah, 2-3 months after that.
Okay. So it's a good, I think, very good hiring strategy that you don't, if somebody is not, agreeing to join upfront at that time, you can make them come, have an experience, see, and you get convinced yourself. Right. So I'll go back to you, Shailendra. So very specifically in IIT, you said you loved what you learned and you loved your college days. But I am asking you this question only from the curriculum perspective. The curriculum that you went through in IIT is today helping you in your career or in building the company?
Unfortunately, no. I'll say that curriculum-wise, colleges are actually designed course by course. You are never taken through a streamlined curriculum. In fact, you even get the freedom to choose a lot of courses. So I'll say the college's curriculum, at least I've just gone through one college. So there it's not optimized as a integrated journey like we have in school, class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you choose a course, and I think it's not really helping a lot. Somewhere we could absorb some part of it, and it kind of just taught me to deal with challenging things and work under pressure. That's what I think my courses taught me rather than the core subject.
But for employers who employ IIT grads or say IIM students, for them it is like, agar ye bande ne ya if this boy or girl has it in him or her to crack a IIT or an IIM, that means his IQ is on a very high level. I think that's the idea, right? When people say I hire from, because might be you're able to, one is from the intellect point of view, and the other is that you will put that effort to get into IIT, which means wo company mein hum agar hire bhi karenge to he will do or she will do a very great job. Is it that why people hire?
There are 2-3 things. One is, of course, you feel that person will be able to put in that kind of effort. along with that, I think somewhere I feel that from when we hire people from IITs also, they're ready to figure out things on their own. They will never come back to you कि अरे मुझसे ये नहीं हो रहा है, वो नहीं हो रहा है, what should I do? So you don't have, like, they'll not depend on you for their problem solving skills. So they'll problem solve by themselves. They'll come to you, this is how we can do things, or this is where finally I'm stuck. I tried this thing, I did this, and then now I'm stuck here. So somewhere they get the sense of ownership. I'm not saying that other people don't, but somewhere I feel that there is a sense of ownership by themselves, that they want to do things and solve things.
But would like to add few things. So first of all, it's not true for all the people who graduate from IITs and IIMs. It's just that probability increases because we have gone through it. But you have to also see that what they have done once they got in there, because that's also very important. Like, you achieved this, but could you then still work hard and do something good? And we know that these are typically challenging environments, and if you are surviving and doing decent also, you have you have that thing to figure out, and that seriousness about things. And second thing is attitude is also very important, that whether they have the right attitude. Sometimes there can be a certain entitlement that can come. And I'm just taking an example of IITs, but it's true with all the college grads, fresh college grads, that a certain sense of entitlement also have started coming in the people, which I feel very weird, because it should not be there. It just destroys careers. If you have any kind of entitlement that I deserve this. No, you don't deserve anything. You have to really earn everything. So, but it's just that if somebody's coming from IIT, a little bit, we look at more closely, and we see that probability might increase that this person. But I think in Codeyoung, we have all kind of people. We have some people from IIT, some people from not IITs. And even the people who are not from IITs, some of them we were just yesterday discussing, are doing such an amazing work that it just inspires us also, what kind of work they are putting in.
And you had very clear target that IIT Delhi is where I go when you started preparing for it?
No, nothing like that. Yeah. I think I wanted to go to IIT Bombay. So everybody takes that target. And I had a photo also in my room when I was actually preparing. But that then I think you end up somewhere. So I think it was good because I got a lot of good exposure at IIT Delhi. I might not have got it in IIT Bombay. So, or it would have been different. So yeah, I think there is no clear target as such in terms of which IIT want to go. But overall, because we see that top 7 IITs are there, you want to go in somewhere out of that. IIT Delhi I chose because it was near my home, so that was the whole idea.
You said you are almost like a first ranker in your school and all. And Shailendra also mentioned that he was very good at his studies. So at least for people like you who had a good level of IQ, for example, let's just say that, you still had to go to Kota to go to Delhi, or you couldn't have cracked it by yourself?
I think that time there were not a lot of opportunities in my hometown. I don't know, today things are very different because online there are a lot of things from where you can learn. But that time there were no coaching centers, nothing. So getting that exposure also, what exactly you want to learn for getting into IIT, I think you have to go somewhere. So Kota was something where everybody was going, and I think it was very famous. Now also it's very famous, then also it was very famous. So that's where I chose Kota. But I think Shailendra studied from Gwalior only. So it depends on the opportunities you have.
Oh, you didn't go to Kota?
I didn't go to Kota.
Wow, okay.
But I think my training, so-called training for the JEE exam, was not any less. I think nowadays, fortunately or unfortunately, the competitive exams have become so, I think competition has become so intense that without a formal training just specific for that exam, it's difficult to clear. That's the reality of today, I'll say.
Now that from a EdTech space, you see Kota could lose its relevance if everything can be learnt online? Or because you've gone to Kota, what do you think?
No, I think both online and offline are different things only. Matlab, in online, you can get a certain exposure, offline will be different. For some people, it works online better because they don't get a chance to go there. So online is solving that problem for them. But offline in itself creates a lot of value, adds a lot of value because you interact with a lot of people like you, around you. So I think when you see all of them in the same kind of pressure also, or you interact with them, you understand a lot of things. So both have different values, I would say. I think offline can't take over online, and same online can't take over offline.
In both of your careers before Codeyoung, right, is it that it was very, like you said, Flipkart was very good, the experience was very great, and you said that with that entrepreneur whom you worked, you learned a lot and you did almost everything by yourself, etc. Was it that it was always great, or did you come across bottlenecks? I mean, what I'm asking is where you depressed, or where you like, "Arey yaar, I don't know where my career is going." Did you come across this kind of a situation that you faced?
I'll like to answer from my perspective. See, there was definitely a lot of pressure at times, and there was definitely a lot of depressing points. But I was not overly concerned about where my career is going. I was more concerned about that thing I'm trying to do, I'm failing. So that was the thing. I think one can be sad or feel challenged for different kind of things, and it matters a lot that what are the kind of things you are feeling depressed about. Nowadays, with this, I'll say the LinkedIn has taken over the social, like earlier social media was just like Instagram, which makes you feel about your life, that you are the one who was sitting in a room and everybody's traveling and having a lot of fun. Now LinkedIn also became, I don't know what the current status is, but in between I felt like it became like this. And I'll tell you, in this world nowadays, you always you will choose one, but you will see 100 things which you're not doing. So that kind of discipline has to be there. And trust me, all ups and downs comes. Things, the crypto became a big thing, then nobody's talking about it, generative AI, and it's definitely will give a lot of value, but hype will go down, and I think it will settle somewhere. But I truly feel it will move the baseline. So I think these kind of things I was not thinking. I was not thinking why I'm not in say Flipkart, why I'm not in say Goldman Sachs or Microsoft, Google. I was not thinking that way. But of course, I was dealing with a lot of challenges, and so a lot of self-doubt was coming in. But I always tried to come over it by really taking a step back, figuring out, then putting in effort. It's not just rote effort. It's a lot about really taking a step back, seeing the situation. Okay, what can I do different? What can I do different? Where more effort has to be put. So that is the kind of journey
You
I
had
had.
friends whom you can discuss this out, or every decision was made by yourself, or you took some help to understand mentoring or whatever?
I think friends help a lot. I feel like the modern day friendship, I'm not talking about maybe the hometown kind of friendship, but modern day college friendship. And that's the benefit of IELTS IIT, that you can trust on them, that everybody is really serious about what they do. Really want to do something. So, and you must be having these kind of people in workplace, and maybe from your college. So yeah, they were a big support, and even just relaxing with them gave sometimes a brief, and once in a while you can discuss also.
Why am I actually asking this? Because there are a lot of team members, right? Sometimes they might feel that their manager is unfair. Sometimes they might feel that I am being unfair. Why is he pushing so much? इतना सा समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्या ये founder बन के फिरता है, and things like that, right? So when you are in that phase where you were working for somebody and you felt that अरे this is being unfair on me, or I'm not able to figure out, or I'm not able to see clarity for next 6 months or 1 year, am I growing or not? So, and then how do you overcome? So how should they overcome? Should they take help of friends? Should they talk to the HR, or should they come and talk directly to their reporting managers? What do you suggest? So friends is one thing you said in IIT, you had friends. You can always go back in early stages of career, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me personally, actually, and I think for a lot also, for me personally, actually, learning was a big thing during that time, because I just started my career, like only just graduated from college and then starting something new. So I was just looking for opportunities where I can learn, because ultimately when it comes to your career path, it is defined that how your early years of your career have been in terms of learning or in terms of your personal growth. So I just completely focused on that. And sometimes you feel that it's times when you're putting in so much effort and then sometimes results don't come. So you feel that, yeah, am I not doing something right? But I think you have to go back, discuss with people. That's a most important thing. You have to talk to your manager or talk to your peers also to understand, how can I do this thing better in that terms. In our company also, like in Codeyoung, we particularly tell that learn from each other. It's very important that you should discuss with each other, learn from each other. We see that a lot of people, like I think we don't have a lot of people who are very senior in the company. Just people joined the company and then grew in the next 2 years to associate directors also. So that's how Codeyoung mein sales operations has been growing grown, and then there they see that other person is growing well, other person is doing well, so learn from your peers and talk out to the manager. So I think when in Flipkart also I felt there was a time when I was a bit low because something was broken completely because of me. I used to go and talk to my manager ki what can I do better, like you just give me feedback, take feedback from each other. I think that will actually help a lot in that sense, I feel.
I'd like to add very important point. One more important point here is that don't hold on to your opinions very strongly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel unfair, but try to look and don't believe. Just at least start a chain of thoughts in that direction that let me understand the person. And I think running companies and building companies is difficult, and the founder cannot take everything on herself. So you have to pass on, but believe you are a part of a team. Okay. And but Rupika really covered it all. But just one addition: that don't hold on your opinions. If you talk to your manager or whoever is, even Dhanraj you're talking, go with an open mind. Don't go there just to prove yourself right. Go with a mindset. Look, let me understand. So, like we have, I also do a lot of, even founders do a lot of stakeholder management. We also have a lot of people to manage, and there are conflicts also at times. But I have started learning that I go with an open mind, because possibly I cannot see from everybody's perspective, and sometimes you understand the other person's perspective and you are being able to change that. Okay, I got you. Now you come some midway. So, and sometimes you realize that other person is right and you accept it without taking it on ego. So just what Rupika said, plus keep an open mind. Yeah, that's
Right. So we'll quickly change gears and go directly into Code Young. So if you can let us know what Code Young is and a little bit about the EdTech space and the journey from the start till today, what's happening, if you can tell us.
Sure. See, about EdTech, as I said, the company was started with a mission that kids should be introduced to coding. And how it started, I'll tell you. I was one of those people who thought that I should have learned coding in the childhood. I would have enjoyed it, for sure. There were infrastructure with me. Like I had access to a computer through neighbors or somewhere, like since class 7th. And coding is actually a very powerful skill which can be learned even before you complete your school. So I was one of those people who thought that I just wish I could have me introduced to this thing in my school. Because at that time you have a lot of time, a lot of energy, and if you get to something so interesting at that age, you can actually start playing with it. You don't have that burden of learning coding. You can actually be so proficient in it that you can use your creativity to create something from that new technology that you have learned. So we started with that. As I said, with my experience in earlier jobs, I knew exactly what has to happen in 0 to 0.5. That I knew, that I have to really see whether customers want it or not.
But why did this idea come to you? What made you actually?
So I was constantly thinking about things. I was constantly thinking about thoda sa it will be a little on the 30,000 feet view. But I always used to keep a list of what are the things I care about in world. Education is one of them. I think skill development, education.
And this thought was there since IIT days? Since your graduation
Since
days?
IIT also, I was thinking, when I was graduating from college, I was never like, I have to do job only. I was thinking, what can I do with my life, which is satisfying for me, satisfying for others. So this thing I used to maintain, what are the things I care about. Even today, I have this list. Education is not the only thing I care about. But when you care about things, then you pass on through that initial tough phase easily, if you really care about what you're doing. So education was definitely one of them. And I was feeling like, I graduated from IIT Delhi. Still, I have zero skills. I just have some people skills, leadership skills. But other than that, I don't know anything. What will I do with physics? Would I know? Should I won't be able to make solar panels here. That's a different. I know if I have to go into that field, I have to go for MTech and PhD. So that was a big dissatisfaction that I don't know anything. Now again, I'm doing well in life. I'm getting a job, anything. But then I started thinking that it's told that whatever fees we pay in IIT, in any IIT, it just covers 20% of the expense. Rest 80% is subsidized by government. And that 20% was also a good amount for me. So my parents put in a lot of efforts. in terms of money. Government has put in so much effort. I worked really hard during these 2 years to get into there. All for what? Just to prove that I am smart during JEE exam and just to stress test me. Is it not a very inefficient way? If you just go with that intention, then make a stress test degree only. Okay, we will just stress test someone for 4 years. It will be much cheaper, I think, for government, for us. So that was a dissatisfaction that came in, and also I started thinking from the first principle that suppose I used to give this in orientation. Suppose there's a coastal area, and tribe is living there, and they have to create a formal education system. What they will teach their kids? They will possibly teach them fishing. They will possibly teach them trade, some mathematics, culture and art. What is relevant for the society? Today, coding is everywhere and nobody is even talking about it. That was a very weird feeling, and that was the conviction. We started and we just...
And so you got this clarity in your when you're working in the second company?
Yeah. During that 2019 start. So even in convocation, 2018, the convocation happened. There also we were sitting and we were sitting here. I wish coding would have been taught in school. And everybody started repeating it. I also wish. Everybody is feeling like this. Then why not? So that is the idea.
So in short, we can say that Code Young is a platform where you can, go learn from young. So Code Young means you can. There's no age. Is there a minimum age for anybody could?
Yeah, we start from age 6 to 16 particularly is our target segment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Today is much more than that. Today, definitely, we also learned a lot. But this is where we started, and I think these kind of convictions are very important when you start, at least. After that, of course, you understand the market, you understand the market gaps. You can't understand the market gaps unless you are in the market. So later on, of course, a lot of things came in. But this was the conviction we started with, and when we talked to the parents first time, we were like, ultimately, they have their custody. If they don't like it, there's no business and there's no making it.
So your product is like that product for kids, right? You are marketing to the kids, but you have to also market it to the parents. So same is what you.
Parents has to allow us an opportunity to showcase it to the kids. And if kids love it, parents will definitely like it.
And yeah, we always wanted to introduce coding as a hobby for the kids. We never wanted to introduce another academic subject because if it's another academic subject, kids will also take it that way. Ki yaar, school ka ek curriculum hai which I have to do because parents will push me. So that was the idea when we started also, that we wanted to introduce this as a hobby because everybody feels yeah, coding is very tough. Coding is something which we can't do. A lot of people feel also. I was even thinking while I was in IIT, ki can I do coding? Can I learn how to code, etc. So I think somewhere we wanted to introduce that as a hobby. So that's where the idea actually started.
If you can let us know how big is your team? Do you have any operations in any other part of the country or the world? And what do you feel about the EdTech space? Do you have competitors?
Yeah, so we started actually with coding. This was the early days of 2020. Right. But after that, and we started with India, because India was the most approachable market also for us. And then we started with some parents, did some pivots, etc. During that time also, made some curriculum and then started selling. Right. But as soon as we sold, I think 4 months later, 2020 May, it was the time when parents from India started referring the parents in US, so their relatives in US and UK and even Middle East and then all these countries. And then we realized that there is a bigger opportunity also in that terms because there is not a lot of supply in terms of teachers or in terms of education out there. So that's where we started focusing on other markets as well. Now, if I talk about today, so you'll be surprised, I think almost 96% of the revenue is coming from outside India. So we're only like 4% of Indian students are there, but remaining almost 95-96% of the students are from different markets, like they're from US, Canada, Australia. So we have today, as of date, we have presence in almost 15 countries apart from India. So that's how the journey has been. In terms of the team, so today, like in office, like in Bangalore, we have almost 300 people in team, and then we have almost 600-700 teachers who are teaching from all across the different parts of the India. So almost 1,000-member team we have till today. So that has been the journey in terms of team as well as in terms of the markets.
Yeah. Okay.
Coming to the EdTech market, see, I believe that education is something in today's world of knowledge work. Education can be really, really empowering. And EdTech is really solving a big challenge. Like I'll talk about not just my company, but we were talking about JEE preparation. I think when I was talking to some of my cousins, very younger cousins who are still in village, and they look up to me that how do I get get into these good colleges. Then earlier, I could not tell them because they were not in the city, and they could not afford to move into the city and get into these coaching classes. But I just researched a bit, and I realized there are some very good programs out there. It's just that it takes a little extra willpower. So that's a different facet of customer behavior. That somewhere it takes an extra willpower to learn from that. But they have empowered you to consume some of the very nice content, very good content when it comes to JEE preparation, and they allow you to solve your doubts. They allow you to interact with others. So they have allowed a lot of things. Same in our case, we see that these kids wouldn't have been introduced to coding. Even in countries like US and UK, people are not. Some people are there who have that kind of parents who aren't already engineers. They still can allow their kids to learn. But right now, we have so many families where parents are totally don't have any idea about tech, but their kids are experts in it, and they feel so grateful. They feel so happy. So I think it's really delivering a lot of value to the customers, and I think education is one of those things. Like there are, I think, somewhere like two kind of companies. Either there are companies who can help lots and lots of people doing something very small, say something very small like booking a cab. It's not life changing. It's you booked a cab, but you are doing it with millions and millions of people. And then there are some companies who are working with, say, suppose 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 people, but really impacting a lot. Like I'll say Bain, BCG, McKinsey, all consulting firms, many B2B startups, like this high engagement model. But education is something where we can work at scale and still deliver life-changing events. Rupika, did Bansal coaching classes didn't change your life?
Yeah.
Like, and my coaching class changed my life. Of course, with tech coming in, you can do it with thousands and lakhs of people, and that's why I think I'm very bullish on education, and I think it's a great segment for the society and for the students. And coming to the dynamics of how big business of it, like how big it can become, and how the marketing will work out. So of course there are challenges like any other segment, and I think COVID came in, a lot of hype came in the picture, then hype went away. Now there's a different kind of negative hype that is going on, that is also somewhere equalized. But bottom line is again thinking from the first principles. Customers wanted, you can make a profit on it, you can make a business. How big it can be, and that again is a question you understand. But right now we see very good path ahead of us.
What about competition?
I think just adding to this, and then we can come on competition also. So I think we can create a lot of value for the kid. So if we talk about Code Young also today, we are giving the exposure to kids living in US, UK to Indian teachers. So in itself, we are creating a lot of value in that sense, because live classes actually we are changing the world for the kids also, right? So for future, like our aim, we actually talk about this a lot in the company, that the kid who is learning from us, we should actually make sure that the kid remembers us after 10 years, that something I did, like I took a course, or I actually got engaged with the company for 1 year, and that has changed my life. So somewhere that is our vision also behind doing entire, I think, Code Young.
This course should be a major life event in the kids' journey.
So that's our aim also as a company. So yeah.
Something like, do you think it could become one day a Code Young Academy? Like how we say, right? I come from IIT, or I come from IIMs, right? So I learned from Code Young, something like that, right? That becomes a very vital. So IIT is a very vital part of your life, right? That's what you said.
Exactly. So that is the thing, and possibly not just to show others, but actually on the skill level, because they start thinking in a very different manner. So that is really has been the motivating factor, and we clearly see the value. We don't have to really think. It's right evident there. Just like Rupika, when she got in first few days, we really never had a discussion. Okay, you want to become co-founder? We never really had that discussion. It just happened. Coming to the competition, so yeah, this was a new thing. Like let's teach coding to kids, and some companies got very successful, including ours. They we found a really great early traction. A lot of people were resonating with this idea. I'll say a lot of people were already somewhere thinking that education is broken, but somebody was not anybody was doing something about it. There were a few companies who were doing. So a lot of people jumped in and really tried to do something. Some succeeded, some just shut the shop, possibly because they were not that interested somewhere. But overall, it really uncovered a latent feeling in all of us that education has to be changed. So it was good. Today, I'll say there are some good competitions, and I think education is really not that bad. One thing is, I feel like education is a market where, like e-commerce, unlike e-commerce, I'll say, it's not very discount driven. It's more value driven. You can really sell or really enroll someone even in a costlier program if the course is really good, and that's what we strive for. So there's some competition right now going on. There are a few companies which are doing well, and we all are growing, and the market is just growing. And as long as everybody is focusing on the customer value, I think that would be great.
What do you think? For example, we discuss with my team that, say we make a product which is 100 rupees and we sell it to 1 crore users, we make 100 crores out of it, 1,000 crores out of it. But then that same product is then very scalable. Like say, for example, something like Coursera, right? I think Coursera is all recorded videos, which then anybody can consume. And so even if the team is sleeping, the sales is continuously working at the back end. Right? At Code Young, is it that every class is a live class where the teachers has to be present, or is it a set of course which anybody can purchase it and then use it on their own time?
So major element is live class only. So 60-70% is live class. But along with that, we have built a platform over time. So on that platform, similar to this, like there are a lot of exercises which we have listed, a lot of challenges for kids. So even if we have seen that a kid spends 2 hours along with the teacher in a live class, but they are spending equal time on the platform as well. And with time, we are building and scaling up that platform as well, where we can actually open it up for all the kids all across the globe. Because right now, it is just for the customers who have taken, just for the kids who have taken the live classes with us. But yeah, I think that's a good way to scale up a business as well, because you can increase your reach to million of people. So I think that's where we are also working upon. But along with that, I think live element or a human intervention in terms of teaching is very important, we feel, because somewhere that teacher can deliver much more value than a platform. So that's the idea, yeah.
So from during COVID lockdowns to now, has the sales come down? Or normally for EdTech companies, like when we read in the outside world, right? So was it perceived that it's a very big opportunity, irrespective of, say, coding is a need, everybody wants to learn, but has post-COVID affected the market?
See, I'll say it's possibly very specific to the segments. And we also came across a lot of news like that. But we didn't face any of it. Now, I'll say that I am not denying these information. I think possibly in certain segments, say exam preparation. So if you are in your class 10th, 11th, 12th, you have to start a preparation. Coaching classes are not open. You will definitely go to these different options that you have. In K-12, I think, of course, kids were saving time from school, but they were anyways taking classes from school. So we were not getting any extra time, and we were not a school who were replacing the existing school. So we didn't face this. We really, even today, we are seeing a very positive headwinds in K-12. So we did not face any of this, and we were also outside India, where internet connections, infrastructure, everything is quite good. Of course, they don't have enough teachers. That's a big problem right now in these countries. But they have very good infra. So we are not facing any of this. We are seeing the same positive change or positive outlook.
Right. I remember once seeing the interview of Nitin Kamath of Zerodha, where he said, the TAM is not that big. This is the TAM. And he was asked, what is your next plans for Zerodha, etc. He was very particular that the TAM is only this much. There are only these many users. Whatever you have to do with them. Right? There is no, I can take a lot of money from the market and I do what with it. So today, like what is going around with Byju's, for example, if you leave the corporate governance part of it, do you think a lot of founders and investors make a mistake of thinking that the TAM is too big and raise a lot of money, and then we realize that अरे यार इतना ही है वो market. मतलब I mean, if you are able to understand what I'm asking, sometimes we make plans and we try and give a projection. Sometimes the TAM might not be that big as we think it is. Like for you, when now you say that, I think the majority of our customers are based outside India, right? So suddenly did you think that, now my TAM is very big? Did that happen, or how did you deal with that?
I think when it comes to investing, for them, TAM really matters because they are really looking 10 years down the line journey. And I think it happened in certain segments. Like I think Zerodha founders, Nikhil and Nitin are really candid to say this out aloud, and they can afford it to say. So yeah, they are talking about their own market. They are saying that I know companies in broking who raised billions of dollars, saying that I'll get 20 crore Indians investing on my platform, but there are only, I think 60 lakh people pay the income tax.
Yeah.
So, so he was very candid and very matter of the fact in that. I think in consumer market it's very difficult to estimate the time. This is still a very good way because 60 lakh people, 70 lakh people file income tax. Then definitely you can estimate that how many will do share trading.
Yeah.
But in consumer markets, in most markets, I feel estimating time is a very difficult task, very tricky task. Now what happens is sometimes even founders, they also know somewhere that they don't know it. But because they have to raise money, they will say what they have to say, and it gets everyone into a problem. But there are some good successes also. I think there were some companies which everybody was feeling like, who will use them? But they turned out to be so good. I'll talk about, say, as a Meesho, recently we got a news that they got profitable, and they were just shared their numbers, and I was like, what a scale. And I'm telling you, I visited a village recently, my cousins and all live there. I never saw Flipkart and Amazon in their phone. I saw Meesho. I asked them, why do you download it? No, I order clothes. They never ordered anything from Flipkart, and I don't know how they did it. There are similar many other examples, and in our case, we believe that there is a huge TAM. Now, if I have to raise $1 billion, then I have to show something.
Yeah, where am I going to spend it? Why am I? Yeah.
But truth is, how do you estimate it? It's just a discussion. And in bull markets, everybody believes. In bear market, nobody even believes good arguments. So, so somewhere reality is in middle, and only the time will tell where the businesses will go. I believe that. Maybe I'm too young for really commenting on that. But till now, my experience has been this: that it's very
But then you
difficult to
might
estimate.
hire a company, or like a consulting company, to do a research and the TAM and all, and then they also probably come up with a number. And then the market, somebody says the market is so big, and then you raise money to sign up endorsements, and then you spend there, and finally you see that business is not coming. Ultimately, you have to then come to a P&L.
I do believe one thing. Possibly it's not about the market size, it's about the speed of acquiring that market. I think that also matters a lot. Sometimes it's not limited by TAM, but actually you just push too hard into the market. Possibly that market gets developed with time. I think that is something that I believe is there. Jaise ki, is there a credit gap in retail? There is. We don't have enough loans. But if you push it too hard, then you will end up having a lot of bad quality debt on your books. So I think it's about the speed also at which you go after the market. There are certain markets which are very ripe to go at very high velocity, but then there are certain other markets where you have to give time, and you have to really build that inch by inch and reach there in 10 years rather than 2 years. I think that also is a big thing. I think in India, I think there might be 20 crore people trading, but that might happen in 20 years, 25 years, not in 5 years. And if you raise money saying I'll do it in 5 years, then you are going to do something which will break things, or I don't know, will do things which do not make sense.
What's your thought on fundraising? So I think Kodyang is a company which has raised equity, right? So how has that journey been? And I have personally also noticed that you don't like how others celebrate. I've not seen you celebrating fundraise. Because I follow both of you, and I've seen some of your posts also on LinkedIn. So what is the fundraising journey like for you at Kodyang?
So I'll
It
tell
happened
you.
much after, it didn't happen pre-seed, or it
No, we raised a round in 2020, and after that also we raised certain other rounds, but we didn't even bother posting about it. Because I think venture capital is a great tool. And because of that, there are some very good businesses that have been built in the industry. But I somehow feel like I don't like to talk about it or boast about it, really discuss about it, even on social media, because it has already enough attention. It has already enough, good things about them. So I'm not going to go here and trash if venture funding is wrong. But I think it has already got its adulations. It has already gotten. What is missing is people looking beyond it. That is what is missing. I think venture capital is a great tool, and for certain companies it suits well. And I think somewhere the venture capital will find its way to these companies. But then there are other businesses who don't need that kind of capital, or who don't need that kind of mindset capital. Like, these are businesses which still need capital, but they will take their own time and their own time to scale, and they will scale well. So I believe one should be very objective about if your business needed or not needed, and venture capital also come in a very range of shades. There are certain funds who believes crash if you want, but either give me a very big exit or just crash. There would be some, no, keep my money safe, please. Just give me a 2x, 3x. There are all kind of things, and you should understand where you fit, and you should just seek that capital. Second thing is, markets are not that seasonal as much as capital is. So you should also understand that there are certain markets, certain seasons, no matter how good you do, it won't come. So
Yeah, and I think it's important to build the right product. Then I think it's ultimately about how fast you want to scale. So if you want to scale, like maybe if we want to scale next 6 months, then we might need a lot of capital infusion in the company to just reach to that level. If we are patient enough that we want to scale this company patiently, then I think you might not need capital also. So it depends on the company to company also in that terms. And second is how fast you want to scale. But I think capital can't solve the product market fit somewhere. So you have to be right in terms of first product market fit. So I feel if you have a good product market fit, it's good to scale faster, and it's good to have more capital, and it's okay to be bootstrapped also. A lot of businesses are bootstrapped and are very, I think, successful in that term. So both the things are comes and with different situations at different companies.
And the decision of how fast to grow or how slow to go, is it purely the founders, or the founders and the investors together make this decision?
I think it's a decision that is made together.
Yeah.
But what I believe is ultimately nobody should decide, the business should decide. You should just look at the business. Like you won't decide I want to drive at 200 km per hour or 100 km per hour. You still see the road, you will see the car, and then you will decide. And sometimes it's a personal choice also. Right. But I think that should not come in the picture because it's not just about you. There are other people who have invested their money. There are many people who have invested in their career. So that should not come in the picture, but some people even decide by founders' choice of his or her way of living. But I don't think that should come in the picture.
Can we tell the users what's the value of Code Young? What's the valuation that you put? This Code Young is a so many $1 million company.
I'll say in K-12 right now, K-12 live learning, we would be one of the top 3 players in the country. Wow. That's there. Valuation-wise, we never really bothered about it.
In terms of scale, I think
the top 3 players. And other two and few below us also are unicorns. So that is the thing.
And like they say, when you take your first round of funding or even otherwise, the founders will probably know when to exit, or the investors will know when to exit. So what's your plans like? Are you seeing IPO kind of milestones, or you still want to figure it out? What is it like right now?
We believe in making a company like valuable company. Right. Now, how that value will be realized will depend on a lot of things. But we want to be very, very clear, very clear-headed that what we mean by a value of a company. It definitely means scale, but we also believe it means profitability. So that's what we want to build. Now, how it will go, we don't know. But we also realize that this journey might go for a decade or 2 decades. So we should enjoy our time. that we make sure that we are enjoying our time, and we are taking the company in a direction where it will be valuable for sure. Nobody can dispute about it, and that's profit. And second thing is we just make sure that we are enjoying our time because it's a long journey. It's not a thing.
And I think learning during that entire journey also. So when we started also, we never thought ki are, like we were very young also when we started. It was our first company also. So we never thought in that way that, okay, 5 years maybe we'll take an exit or 7 years maybe we'll take an exit, because we never thought that way. So we always believed in creating value for the kid, for the parent, learning outcome for the kid, and somewhere that value I think in itself will give a lot of returns in future. So that's how we also always think about building.
But sometimes inevitably, like for example, what happens with me when I am on, say, on an investor call is that and then there's a value that is discussed, unless there is a safe note or convertible notes that fundraising can be done. So I tell them, see, we have built a network of rice millers. We have built a network of buyers in Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, and the Middle East. And then we have built a pool of exporters. We have done 40,000 tons of rice last year. So we built a network. If today somebody has to go through say 5-10 years of all this working to build that network. So that is why I am saying this, that this probably could be our value. Whereas you see that there is a huge difference in what the person outside thinks your value is and what you think internally. So then I was like, then who puts the value? Right? Sometimes we thought that, okay, let's hire a consultant who can tell us how to put the values, right? But that's what I'm saying is sometimes inevitably you might have to come up with the value, and then you really start thinking that really should I care about this or not?
I think in that way, if you're asking me, then see what the value of the company is a different thing, but it depends on that event. You need some capital, you need it to do something, and I think first of all you should not really, if somebody do not agree with you, it doesn't mean that you are wrong, and it doesn't. I can even say that there's no one in the world who can say that this is worth this much. You know, WeWork was somewhere trading at $100 billion, and then it got finally it got $2 billion when they were about to go public. So and some of the very smartest people in the world in terms of finance and banking were working on it. So I don't believe that if somebody has the authority to say, okay, I am more right than you. If you believe something, if you have a certain scheme of things, like I have these many network, if somebody will build it, it will take so much time. Or you can say that what kind of value I can drive using this network, what kind of things I can do. You just stick with that. Of course, just keep rethinking on your own only, your way of thinking. So, but when it comes to financing, it all depends what money you want, why you want, and somewhere how much you need it also. That also becomes a big factor. Fortunately, private equity is like that. Private equity is very volatile and very much just numbers game, not not depending on the company's performance. So I think it all depends how badly you need it. Now I can't, if I'll need money and I'll say no, I just wanted $1 billion valuation, nobody's willing to give it, then I have to ask whether I want it or not. If I want it, then I have to explore the market at what valuation they are willing to give, and then you have to take a call. So that is a very event specific thing. Unfortunately, if a round happens, then that valuation keeps tagged to you till the next round. That's a little unfair. That's a function of so many things. So I think you can only decide what's the right value at the right stage and if you're not comfortable with that value, then keep building further without money, if you can. So that's how I see it.
Right. So before quickly going to the last part of this discussion, I'll ask one question. So as you said, WeWork was at 100 billion and finally got into 2 billion, and we have seen that happen with Uber, we've seen that happen with Oyo, and we have seen that when Paytm and Zomato got listed, right? So fundamentally, are you able to see that pattern that I think we are valuing some business or that market too big, and finally when the investors when it goes on the stock market, then we finally come to know, it's not that worth it. I think there's a gap somewhere. There is a gap of what we perceive and what we perceived. Now finally, a lot of people writing off a lot of valuation.
Yeah, I think it depends on market to market. Like, I think 2021 was the time when we could see there are a lot of people raising at crazy valuations. We were also like, all of us were thinking that what is happening in the market. Yeah, it was being celebrated. And now is the time when, that time I think, I don't know what was being celebrated and why fundraising was becoming such a big hype. But now if we see this year, I think it has again come down to profitability. So ultimately it is, I think the basic first principle that if a business you're building, you have to build a profitable business. Earlier in past, when venture capital was not there, people were building businesses, big businesses were being built and they were profitable businesses. So I think it depends on time to time in terms of value being given. Today people are very conservative in terms of giving a higher valuation also, and they are being seeing every detail of the business while even funding. So I think things have changed, time changed, things change. So it's like that only, I feel somewhere.
Yeah, ultimately it comes down to value you are creating. If your business fundamental are just becoming stronger and stronger, you are increasing your value. These cycles, like I am also talking to a lot of founders who have gone through these cycles. They also say that these cycles just doesn't matter. You just keep building the business. If your fundamentals are getting better and better, you are doing fine. And if fundamentals are going worse, no matter if tomorrow somebody is giving you a $2 billion valuation, it doesn't matter. Fundamentals eventually will catch up. That's what I've heard people saying.
So I'm going to the last part of the discussion, which is tell us something that we don't know, or tell us something which we are not able to otherwise get to know on podcasts and all, which is truly inspirational. For example, I think I asked you once, we met last time also, Shailendra and Rupika, is that did you ever cry, for example, during in the office, or you faced a bottleneck, or you had 2 months of funds in the bank account, or you don't know, I mean, what have you have gone through? So have you ever cried in the office?
So I think there have been multiple instances, not one, I will say. There were actually 2-3 times when we felt that what is going to happen next. Like, I think there was a time in 2021 when we felt we just have 15 days of runway. Wow. Can you imagine, like 15 days of runway? So that time Shailendra and I were like,
which means this could be 15th of the month, because in 30 days the payouts is going to come.
Exactly like that. So we were thinking what to do next, and we did not have any clue. We sat down, both of us. Like, it was that time you're just completely low. You feel that everything is gone and you've just pulled everything down, and you get a lot of pressure. One thing is, of course, ki you feel ki you have been a failure in life. That's what you feel that time. So I think that was one moment. We sat down, we thought that we have to turn around this business. I think you have to turn those situations into somewhere that motivation that you can do it. Because being I think having a co-founder there helps, is what I felt, because when you feel low, the other person is always there for you, that nahi, we can do it together. So somewhere that helped. That was one moment. I think there are a lot of instances. Last week only I was feeling so low, because some things broke, and then I was like, Shailendra, what is happening? What will happen? So I think there are multiple instances which happen in the business, but somewhere I feel you have to keep going. That's the whole idea of the entire, I think, 3 years of journey. I felt that if you keep going, things will fall in place ultimately. And you have to just wake up every day and say that we can do it, we will do it, and the team is there with you now. So many things I've built in, so you can do it. So somewhere that feeling, if you get, and that will actually motivate you to do things.
Tell me one thing, it happens to me sometime here, is like it's about say 8:30 p.m. We are still in the office, and somebody comes to me with a problem, and I don't have an answer at that moment. And I simply tell that person at that time, the sun has set, let it rise tomorrow, and let's see what we can do. So, I mean, is that a right way? I mean, because I don't have an answer at that moment. So I thought, okay, might be tomorrow the tide will turn. And it has happened multiple times that the buyer, say for example, we have an importer in Singapore who has messaged, the quality is shit, I am going to file a claim on you because my buyer is, and that's going to be about 1 crore rupees, for example, okay? And I've seen this message. So earlier and all, it used to be very kind of, I should get tensed and all. Now I've kind of tried to learn to how to deal with this. And the next morning, I say, okay, let the sun rise. And the next morning, then there's another message. Bro, I was very angry last night, but we can solve this. Once you're free, give me a call. And that problem just vanishes. But based on that message, if I would have killed myself in terms of my mindset, etc., so okay, but how did you turn around? Meaning, when you are staring at a situation which is 15 days of runway, is it that you is it like I sometimes feel, whatever bottlenecks if you come across, at least if there is cash in the bank, you can still keep paying the team and cover the infrastructure and still keep figuring out. So I think the biggest hurdle is when you don't have cash in the bank and then you have 15 days of runway. So at that situation, do you first secure the money, like say beg, borrow, steal, whatever you do, or you turn around in something in such a way that the business by itself fixes it? What did you do?
I think both the things you have to do parallelly. One is, I think you have to keep your team in loop. That's the most important thing, which I have felt also in the past, that whenever things are going down, what we do is we both sit, we both discuss that this is what has happened. Right. Not just in this particular instance, maybe other things also. And we ask the team, team, this has happened. We have to turn around the situation. For this, let's build a plan. So I think that is one way you can actually turn around things in the next 2-3 months. It will definitely take time. You can't just turn around things in one day, like this kind of situations. But I think your team has to be aligned. Otherwise, what will happen is you are in silo thinking, yeah, what to do. So I think somewhere we also got lucky in getting a very good team since the start, who was always there for us and there with who was always there.
So you mean to say you share with the team as to what are you facing?
Yeah, we share with the team that this is the problem. We have to think now. We have to turn around the situation. That time you can actually feel also that what will the team think. The team might leave also looking at the situation, right? But you have to build that kind of trust also with the team somewhere, that team is actually understanding and they are ready to turn around situation along with you. That is one way. That is one part of it. And second, definitely you have to think that from where can you get the capital in the bank. So I think these are the two areas.
That's where actually two founders also help. We usually divide this.
Yeah, we usually divide this. So Shailendra looks for getting capital in the company, and then I just align the team that this is what we have to do on a daily level. So that's where we actually, I think, complement also in terms of.
What if there's a single founder in the same situation? What he or she
I'll tell you some. I've recently, I think the kind of books I read after starting company are very different than I used to read before. Like before I used to read how to start a company, but right now I read books like you started now, what to do. So there's a very nice book, Hard Things About Hard Things. Okay. And that's just an amazing book. I think Ben Horowitz, who's the Andreessen Horowitz, one of the partner now, like that guy has gone through so much and he writes its heart out in that book. And I think one of the very first sections is that founders usually shy away, like they try to take all the stress on themselves, and they have to. And they sometimes don't share the challenges very openly to the team. Like don't try to filter it as much as possible by making them more actionable. Because we founders think that, okay, we won't let the team suffer. But ultimately, we don't realize as founders that we actually take up a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, which impedes or which really deteriorates our capacity to really do things. But that's not true with the team. And then if you share with them, they won't be so devastated as you are, and they will be able to solve it better than you. So that was the first part somewhere I read, and I do that. And from that day onwards, of course, first of all, so whatever comes, we absorb it. Like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, I just go on a walk, they absorb it. And Rupika talking about 15 days, that was back in 2021. And after that, you are totally right. That's how I also deal with it. Let's see in the morning. Because it has so many times it has happened. Like, if I write it down, somebody will feel like you have some kind of magic. Because, like, I also feel surprised at how the problem got solved. Out of nowhere sometimes. Out of nowhere problems come. After nowhere sometimes solutions also come. So that courage has to be there. And yeah, what Rupika said, that's what the focus is. We just see what we can do. And sometimes we don't realize what we can do. We just see in one way. But if you will be tensed and stressed and sad and angry, then you will just see that. Or you just calm down. You will see your horizon is increasing, and you sometimes think very, very random ideas, and that works.
So my experience is that when just COVID lockdown got announced, we were already at 6 months of zero sales, and I was at my lowest. And then the COVID lockdown happened. We were just 4 of us. I got them on a Zoom Gmeet call, and I told them, see, first of all, 6 months, no business. And this lockdown has happened. I don't know what it is. So I am not sure whether I will be even able to pay you guys. And to my surprise, it's happened that then the salary happened. I made the transfers, and they were like, I was not even expecting it. So sometimes, they also give it back to you by saying that, don't worry, chill, it's okay, we'll figure it out, kind. But that panic situation, does it happen or not? I think might be, I don't know, might be with the leaders it might not happen or something, but at the bottom level, I don't know if people will panic because then there are a lot of things connected to it like EMIs, bills to be paid, etc.
Yes, it can happen, but that's the thing. Salary is not coming, it's not actionable. What you can do to get it is actionable. So that's one thing. And I also similar incident just back in 2021. So we have a big teacher payout. We just asked them that, see, we will divide it in two parts. We never did that. We just started the company like 6-7 months back. We never did that. This is also possible, but we got the idea. Let's divide it because our payouts will come from our payment gateways, and Monday we will be able to pay. So we mailed them that half of the salary we will deposit now, half of the salary. You know what replies we got? Pay all in full on Monday, no problem. Some people said, pay me on 20th, no problem.
Next month you can pay others. So I think that kind of support when you get when you share things, that in itself keeps you motivating. Ki, yaar,
And
you have
we
to
feel
go.
like we should not let them be in this situation again. We feel like a lot of gratitude, and so it's not a great plan, but it's long back, and nowadays we handle panic really well. But panic do come in, but I think panic is never the answer.
Right. So my next question is like you might have a leaders team with your closest team members who run different departments, etc. And how do you make them feel being motivated or seeing the vision that you're seeing, and not them to not grow insecure of each other, because I think it's a continuous process of nurturing them, right? And at some point in time, probably you are also not in a stage to, or I don't know. I mean, a lot of team members of mine, they look up to me, say for suggestion, or be it. I have somebody who is called has a term itself. I need a TPCC, and then I ask, what is TPCC? Thought process changing conversation I want to have with you. Like, okay, chalo, let's have a coffee. And so they come up with problems. And how do you ensure at least because they transfer that to their team members, right? Is there a strategy you follow, or is it like you be yourself and then push them, motivate them?
I think my way of dealing with it is, first of all, being very clear-headed yourself. That's very important. So suppose you are dealing with something, you say, okay, give me 5 minutes. Just be very clear-headed, very quick. And then I believe in communicating with authenticity at times. Like sometimes somebody asked me, what's a 2-year plan? Like even I don't know. But I know 6 months plan. You want to hear? So that worked. It works. Let people know that you are also human. And you are a human and you know what you're doing. Think where the things can fail, and let them know that we all are taking a risk somewhere. So yeah, that's what worked. A lot of time people said, I'll tell you, a lot of people told me that, see, I'm getting this call, that call from the recruiter. Take that call. Why are you not taking that call? There's no harm. You don't have to feel guilty to take that call and understand what's going on. But this is what is there at Codeyoung. These are the pitfalls. This is the opportunity. This good thing can happen. This bad thing can happen. And I believe, take a timeline. Like, give 1 year more. I'm not saying give 10 years more. I think just give next 6 months, or give next 1 year, and like don't be in a constant dilemma. So these kind of things also I can say. I don't say, no, how can you take that call? Oh, please, this is a decade long. No, I can be very honest with them that take that call, understand what's going on. I'm not saying just meet them. If you get some good ideas for business, tell me. Yeah, talk to them, talk to people. It's totally fine. And but being in this state of confusion and thinking of jumping here and there, don't do like that. Time bound things. Like, talk to as many people as you want, but decide, 1 year I'm here, I'm here. After that 1 year, let's discuss, and if you feel like what next. So I just feel like make it intervals. Like that way you don't feel like you are being restricted from knowing what is going on in the world, and also you don't get distracted every day. These kind of things also I can say. I am very sure a lot of people will say, okay, a lot of founders and investors will say, how can you say this? But that's the authenticity. That's what I feel, and that's what I tell to them.
Right. There's one more thing I face in terms of costs. like a lot of people within the team and outside meaning chartered accountant, our chartered accountant and all, they tell us, why do you need such an expensive space? You can get 1/10 of the cost somewhere outside. And I tell them one thing always. See, if I tell my mom what the rent we are paying per month is, she will also give me the same answer, saying that why do you need such a expensive space that you want to pay every month? You can reduce your expenses, right? So even my mom will tell. So when if you are coming up with such advice to me, then you better back it up with, don't tell me how to save cost. Then you give me ideas also how to earn more. Right? What else can we do at PWIP? Can we bring newer programs, newer revenue models? So I'm just not convinced until today. Everybody comes up with cost, or we can save cost, save a rupee here, save a rupee there. That is fine. But who is going to tell how we're going to earn more money? And a lot of times, when we talk to the managers, I do it this lightly, that sometimes I tell that, see, this whatever you do, we can't deposit it to the bank account, right? Say that, okay, this guy is doing a great job, he is doing a great job, she is doing a great job. Okay, चलो इसको बैंक में deposit कर देते हैं, पैसा मिलेगा नहीं, पैसा आना चाहिए ना. So what is your plan on earning money and things like that? So is it only the founder's job to do how to earn more money, or your leadership team, or then it's the founders and the leadership team?
I think it's both founder and the leadership team, because for us also, in the starting, we were actually doing everything ourselves. Shailendra and me were making every plan ourselves. Today, we have to even save cost, or we have to do something. We ask the team, ki, let's come up with the plan. So somewhere we have certain ideas, but team has to come back to us, ki, arey, here we can save. Like in terms of office only, which you are also mentioning. So when we had to move also, we made a plan ki, acha move karenge to kitna saving hoga. Then the team is actually coming up with ideas ki, acha ye software nahi lete hain, let's replace this software with something else, or PG ke charges ke liye let's negotiate. All these things team has to come up with time. Starting mein to I think it is the founder who is thinking about even revenue, who is even thinking about ki yaar cost kaise kam karna hai. But with time, I think company mein everybody should think. So even if I talk about Codeyoung, every even salesperson also thinks that how can I do my job better and how can I even get revenue to the company. So that's how we have actually built and inculcated this into the entire company, that you have to think ki kaise, like how can we increase business, what can we do exactly. So even the salesperson in turn who joins us, that guy also tells us ki let's do this to increase our business. So I think all these things with time, team has to come back, and that shows ki team is taking ownership as well, and that shows the credibility also with the founder.
I would like to add one thing, that how to do that. That's also a very important thing. I think it's a lot about communication. That's something that I've learned while building Codeyoung, that communication is so important. And just like I said, like when things go bad, we come up with, hey, we have to save the cost somehow, or we have to increase the revenue. So one day I remember we went, like 1 month was there, and we said, we don't have money for marketing. We have team sitting. Then as long as we shared, the person said, thought for like 10-20 minutes, okay, no problem. Like, how is it no problem? We have enough old leads. And we did a good revenue that month. I didn't know we can survive a month without spending on marketing. We churned out a lot of old leads and converted a lot of them. But these discussions are just, it won't happen on its own. It won't happen at once. It just, this communications has to start. And I'll also say that when it comes to about earning money, don't think like, okay, I'm working, professional, like, typical employee wali feel. Don't think like that. Think like a dukaan wala. पैसा कमाना है और कहाँ से आएगा, where we can get the cash, anything, any random thing, like possibly think of starting a private label rice brand, whatever. See, I know this guy, he can make 200, 300 kgs, 1000 kgs of rice. We will put some good branding, let's sell it around, something like that. I'm just telling you, think like that. Don't think like, okay, I am a business analyst, let me go to Excel. And don't like things like this. Just have that dukaan wala feeling. We all are very grateful that we all got so good education and this exposure of how technology works and how startups work. But don't let your, I think, roots, like in this country, most of the people are actually entrepreneurs, but they're just not feeling like scaling like we are feeling now. So just let's get that and combine it with our modern tech, how to scale things, and That's how I feel like. I like to think like, okay, paisa kamana hai
I think this kind of ideas they'll give, why don't you tell that you only do it? So हमारे case में what we do is we tell कि अच्छा this is a great idea, let's experiment, why don't you take this up? So I think they also feel a lot of accountability कि I have thought about this, I have actually changed so much into the business. So I think somewhere that thing, if they get accountability, if people get accountability, they love it. So one thing I think I loved in Flipkart was the kind of ownership accountability which was being given irrespective of my age, experience, etc. And the same thing we felt ki when we'll build Codyang, that is the kind of accountability, ownership we want to give irrespective of whoever has how much experience, etc. So yeah.
I don't know whether I have shared this with both of you. What we do here is we have replaced two words in the company. We have replaced employee with the team member. I think I told you. We have replaced salary with payout, just to make the team subconsciously at least to realize that don't have that employee and a pay cut mindset. Think that is your own company. But for you to feel that you're not pushing your vision to the team, and then this vision is also yours, right? What can you actually do? Is it ESOPs and equity stock options is one thing, or like at the moment we haven't done the ESOP yet. We are in the verge of just planning that. But otherwise, what has helped? It is ESOPs plus the other things that we do, or without even ESOPs also you can achieve to get the team think that it is my vision, my company. So there's an urgency then. There's an urgency that I have to meet this timeline, I have to bring this product to the market, I have to generate this much revenue and contribute to the P&L of the company.
I think I like to add, and Rupika can add. See, ESOPs is a very different thing, and I think I'm not sure whether it's important or not important for giving this sense of ownership. I don't think this allocating ESOPs will give that sense of ownership, but it's a good thing, and companies should have it. And definitely, you're thinking about it. I'll suggest go ahead with it. But coming to the ownership, I think on a day-to-day basis, what do you do? That matters more. Few things I'll tell you. We try to do a lot at Codyang, and first of all, I also don't like this word employee. Even though we still use it, HR team I told multiple times it feels very weird. It feels like I don't want to feel that pressure that I have employees. Really, it's like I'm a very selfish reason for it. I don't find to feel like I have 300 employees. I have 300 team members. It feels empowering to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have 300 employees. Like
it's already feeling proposition.
Very difficult to even think that way. But sense of ownership, I think Rupika will also agree that one is letting them, discussing with them. Like when you discuss your vision, then it should be done in a way that it can be a monologue. It cannot be just always a discussion. But once you are done communicating, you are allowing others to talk about it. And if you think there's a lot of rebellion, then divide them. Have two people in a room. I know as a founder, it sometimes get difficult. You are pushing something and there are 10 people in the room and 8 people are opposing it, not getting it. And so you get them in like group of 3 and discuss with them separately. And even if you're not being able to push it, so either something is wrong in the way you're thinking or somewhere the people are wrong. One of the two things are there. And I'm telling you, first thing is also possible. So that one thing we do, that even a small person, like even if we're going someone in operations, such chat support team, when we talk, we also tell them what is the reason behind it, why we think this is the reason. Recently, we just asked people to increase their prices, and we gave them a full story of what EBITDA is and why it should be positive. This is how we started the sales team, and they liked it, I think. Then they would start discussing, listed companies, they got like PE ratio, 20x, okay. They started thinking all about this, and we said, see, this is our direct cost, this is the best way to increase our EBITDA, and we should go for it. They got aligned, and we do really amazing things. This is one thing I feel like whatever we decide, we achieve. That's we really feel good about. Second thing is letting people author their work. That's also a very nice way to put it. Author their work in the sense, I tell my designers, they don't do it, but graphic designers, you think it's your YouTube channel, and possibly in credits, put your name, I have no problem. Just add a credits section, put your name. Of course, it's a Codyang, PWIP, but put your name there. Just own it.
Yeah.
And if somebody has done something really well, we have a town hall and just go speak, explain what you did. So that, I know some people say it's a team effort. Of course, it's a team effort, but let people own their work. own their failures, own their successes, and treat them like humans, which you do, I know. A lot of companies, a lot of startups don't do that, fail there. But treat them like humans and have that equal relationship in terms of as a person. When it comes to work, of course, there's a chain of command. Multiple things come in because of efficiency. But on a day-to-day basis, if you just have that equal equation with the people, having coffee together just randomly, it's not like I'm sitting eating somewhere else. So these two things really help us, like rewarding them and letting other people know that they did it. They letting them own their work, and second thing is having this discussion kind of attitude. Okay, we will tell you why we are doing what we are saying, why we are saying, and what's the logic behind it. So these two things really help day to day. ESOP, of course, you go for it, and that's a different thing. That's definitely, if things go well, somebody will build their house at least, which is a nice feeling to have. And they might be feeling good, at least optically it looks good. But these are two things we follow.
Yeah, and I think adding to this, I think celebrating success is very important when it comes to actually giving ownership, because person should feel that I have done something and I've been like, this has been celebrated. So if I give you example at Codyang, so I think we have coding, so everybody knows we have coding, but we launched math science. Shailendra and I did not launch math science. Like there were people who actually launched maths, who actually launched science, who actually launched robotics. So today, if we see almost like, I think only 50% of the revenue is coming from coding, but rest is coming from all the other 3 courses. So that's what like the team members have actually created. And when they also think, yeah, this is my product because I have launched it, I have created it, and this was being celebrated in front of everybody, that these team of 5-6 people have actually created some revenue stream for the company. So in itself, it gives a lot of ownership. It gives a lot of actually, I think, happiness for the person that this is what I own. So somewhere celebrate that successes and even failures also. So in our team also, we never shy away from कि यार हमने ये product launch किया, हम fail हो गए, या हमने ये try किया, ये channel try किया, we failed. So I think that also we discuss very openly. So somewhere you have to make sure that people are ready to take up those challenges, because success and failure are both treated equally and experiments are being done. So I think that's one.
Just a small caveat. Even though one person take the ownership, but somewhere we try to ensure that they realize that they could do it because of the other team members. Yeah. And most of the time when we ask them to say, you did an amazing thing, they usually just thank the team members which helped them. And it can be very far away from the organization, in the org.
Or across departments.
Across departments. This cross-functional, collaboration is very important, and we ensure it. So yeah, that is the thing. That individual success is also celebrate, but they should realize that ultimately it's a team effort and everybody came together and did it. You did a very well thing just to coordinate it and just to, of course, do your work yourself, but coordinating it was also as a skill. So that kind of collaboration is there in the team, which is very good. And
I have a very curious question to ask. Since we have been talking about opening up feedback sessions and all that, I have a question for you too. Being on that side of the table, being founders, where you know that you, meaning the team executes it, but lot of the ideas and strategies and everything, it comes from your side. But even after that, how often do you guys also take feedback from your team?
Yeah.
Right? And one more follow-up question to that. Also, does it so happen that when you are trying to seek feedback, and since you are on visionary side, so might be, do you also feel there was a problem in taking that feedback? Like, how does the feedback works around for you guys when it's the other way around?
No, so I think for us, we have been like younger than most of the senior leaders in our team. So I think, yeah. Okay, wow. So all the senior leaders, when they joined also, so we kept telling, I think, this thing that we are young. We have just like 2 years of experience. So you have to keep telling us that what can be done more in the company. Because I think there is one way we'll think, but you have to also, because you come with a certain experience, certain mindset as well. So you have to keep telling us. So that conversation communication is very open for the entire, I think, for both of us actually. So we do a lot of conversations. We understand that what can be done in the company. It is not just two of us deciding the entire strategy or two of us just making sure कि यार यही करना है. This is the vision of the company. Vision is there. These are the next 6 months का plan. We always collaborate with each other and understand over there. And I think in our company, I would say that there's a very open culture, like in terms of giving feedback, taking feedback, because we keep doing that. Like it's not a defined, I would say, कि यार 15 दिन में feedback देना है या 1 महीने में feedback देना है. But whenever we feel like यार this person is not doing something right, even if it is us, we just keep telling them that this is, just reach out and tell that this is what we have to improve.
No, so when you're on a project and how the project should go is one feedback. What if somebody tells you that, yeah, Rupika, you were rude. I felt you were rude. So if somebody tells you that, how would you react it?
I think that has not happened. So I think that I'll take as a positive thing only, in terms of कि यार चलो ठीक है, let me introspect.
No, sometimes it happens. I'm the founder or I'm the boss.
No, so I think Shailendra keeps on giving me a lot of feedback, or I keep on giving him a lot of feedback in that sense. So we make sure that we are balanced in that sense. So he keeps on giving, and then I don't react कि अरे I have to do this, but then I think and introspect, अच्छा, I could have done something better in that situation or not. So that's what I think. I just reflect back and introspect, and I see that what can I do better in the next situation.
Is there a time that you are very furious and then वो निकल जाता है? Or, I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking. I mean, I try to practice this a lot. I mean, sometimes I lose my cool, but sometimes, I mean, I try to, because there is some screw up that has happened, which is directly relating to money, for example, or revenue. Do you also sometimes lose your cool?
Yeah, I lose a cool lot of time, but I think I just have understood over the time कि यार I have to keep it to myself first, understand कि actually is it required or not, and then go back to the team and tell कि ये हो गया, and tell them in a nice way so that they also understand. It is not that I just have to go and shout कि यार ये तुमने कैसे कर दिया. So I think somewhere I have to first I keep it to myself, understand, and then go back to the team. So somewhere that reaction might be rude again, or that reaction might be in a better way, but that happens.
I believe in being direct and being polite. Both things can be done, but being direct. Sometimes people say, no, sugarcoat it like this. No, why? You just have to let something bad has happened by someone, some mistake has happened. The other person should know that mistake has happened for with 100% clarity. But what to do with that mistake, that is a choice. That I'm not saying that then this mistake has happened. There shouldn't be no doubts about it. First we'll discuss, and the other person agree, yeah, mistake was done. Then we'll discuss, okay, how to fix that. I believe, like you said, somebody came to me and say you were rude. So I think it doesn't matter whether I was rude or not. It doesn't matter whether you felt good or not. What matters is, was it productive for the situation? Did it help in the situation? Okay. And most of the time, anger is never productive. Most of the times, being direct and not sugarcoating things can be effective. Sometimes making another person feel a bit bad, not like hating the person ends up hating you, but little realizing that I could have done better. I could have been more careful. I could have been more thoughtful. It's good for them only. Again, I recently read a very nice book, Deliberate Delegation. It was very nice book, and the whole idea of that book was that by not delegating people enough and not stretching them, you are doing bad for them. Their job will be less engaged. So sometimes keeping everyone a bit stretched, but giving that human comfort. But just like in coding, we say the work would be challenging, people will not. First day we say the work would be really, really challenging. We will make sure it's challenging, but people will try not challenging. People are there to help, and that's something we have maintained. So I think sometimes it's required. Sometimes it's required. Even I'm not talking about Dhanraj talking to you, but you talking to your team. Don't make it very sugar-coaty kind of thing always. And all the young people who face this, just grow up a bit. I'll say, yeah, grow up a bit. Just have that. Don't take it to your heart. Okay, if you feel you have a better logic, you just respond it back without losing your cool, and you also don't lose your cool. So be a little like a sports team. bit rashes here and there happens, but it ultimately is a game, and we all are a team. So that's what I believe in. But yeah, feedback wise, personal wise, so Rupika only gives me other people. But project mein when we discuss, never feel like anybody is above below. Everything is flat, and then we discuss. So we never even realize kiska idea tha. We never even realize ye kiska tha, wo kiska tha. We just know that this house get built. Let's get execute. So that happens. That happens.
Yeah. Yeah. But otherwise, you can ask questions, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, as you said that you scaled majorly in your US and you didn't scale that much in India. So what was that market shift you saw over here, which was in US, or what was your marketing strategy different from US to India to other countries, UK, Canada? That I would like to know.
Sure. Yeah. So I think why we moved completely to US as such, so because I was telling that we got a lot of referral in the starting itself where parents were actually loving the product and then they started referring to people outside India. And then we saw that there is huge demand in US, countries like US, UK, and then there are not a lot of tutors out there in US, UK. So that's where we thought that it will be better, and we had limited resources to invest. So it will be better because we get a better ROI also while marketing into the different countries, foreign countries. So I think, and that was one idea. And second, we wanted to put our jo bhi resources the international, because we were seeing a lot of ROI over there. And I think in India, that time was a very weird time for particularly K-12 EdTech also. It was 2020 and there were a lot of competition out there. We did not want to get into the pricing game as such. Like, we never wanted to get into the pricing game that we'll lower down the pricing or we'll do this, that, but we wanted to deliver the right value to the customer. So that's why we shifted to US.
One more follow-up question with this. Was your marketing strategy different for every country while you were releasing a course or something? Did you have any change in your marketing strategy? That, okay, these are my targeted audience and I need to market it in their perspective. Like, India has a very different perspective. As you told, that these people are not well versed with coding yet. Like, parents know it if they are engineers, but the other parents, they do not know it, that okay, coding still exists, or the tier 2, tier 3 kind of cities when we talk about. So what was that marketing strategy different for other countries?
So I think messaging has to be different. Like, if you talk about marketing strategy also, like, we did not have to push a lot in terms of US saying ki, you should learn, your kid should learn coding, because everybody there know the value of technology, the value of coding. But whereas in India, we had to focus a lot that, like, in the initial call itself, we had to tell that why coding is important, versus in US, we never had to go and communicate that thing. So I think the marketing messaging was different for parents. The value in terms of product, actually, it was similar only because coding is universal. Like, it is the same thing which we can teach to a kid in India versus we can teach to a kid in US. In terms of other courses, we changed the product a little bit, made it according to the curriculum for standard curriculum for US or standard curriculum for UK. So that's what we changed. But in marketing, the messaging was only different. The channels remained the similar channels only.
Small things I'll add, small thing, but possibly why you are asking this, because you might be working on these kind of projects. I believe don't overcomplicate things in the start. Just get there, understand. Like, we got these referrals from relatives of Indian customers, and then we learned what do they value, what they didn't value, and then we launched in US. Then we launched the same thing in UK. Then realized that numbers are not very similar, conversions are not very similar. Then we fixed that. So I think speed of execution matters. These optimizations, just keep your eyes open, ears open. You will know where to optimize.
I think 0 to 1 में speed of execution matters a lot, but then you have to be, in terms of your messaging also, you have to be right, because when you're scaling up, you want to see that where can you get the best output from.
The small investments you make, just go there, understand and just optimize, optimize. When you are going to spend like 3-4 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs on this, then you have to be careful. But don't.
And learn from your consumers. That's very important thing, and that's what we have learned. Till date also, we talk to our customers. We understand कि उनको क्या चाहिए, what do they need. We don't build things randomly कि चलो अभी ये बना देते हैं, because we are feeling this is right. So I think you have to talk to your customer to understand कि what are they valuing and what do they want. So in US also, when we started, we had no idea कि क्या work करेगा, क्या work नहीं करेगा. We went with the same curriculum, same thing. But then we realized कि अच्छा, parents are looking for this particular thing. So we keep talking to parents, understand from parents. In fact, teachers for us play a very big role. So there we actually keep taking a lot of feedback from teachers also. So Shailendra and I personally connect with teachers to understand ki what is working in class. You have to tell us. So I think keep these two things very close to you, so that while you're building things. So that is.
All these marketing were on online channels. are you present there offline anywhere or is it online?
Offline, we don't have an office over there, but we have a lot of affiliate partners over there.
Asking, like initially when you were targeting US, what was the first step that you know, how did you entered into the US
Apart
market?
from the reference.
So that we actually ran Facebook ads. So from that we digital marketing only we started with, and then now we conduct a lot of events also in US. So physical events. So like there is Ganesh Chaturthi event which is happening in US. So we have a stall over there to just do the branding, etc. So
we have a big stall this year.
so multiple, we do a lot of offline events, and once you start into the market now, then market starts pulling you somewhere, I feel, and then you see that there are a lot of options opening up for you also. So that's what happens.
Exactly. You just search about it on Google and you'll see ads. Like you have to open an office in, say, Dubai, Vietnam. You will see register a company in Vietnam today, which is a very nice thing. I feel like, I really feel these are very nice things that are there.
Coding was started before pandemic, right?
Yeah.
During pandemic, kids got used to screens. So how was the response before COVID, after COVID? Are parents saying that anyhow you got used to screens, start learning coding, or how was the response from parents before pandemic and after that?
So actually we started in January, and
With respect to Indian marketing, I'm asking. Screens, school students started using screens during COVID, right?
yeah.
Before that, how was the response? After COVID, how was the response?
COVID would have helped you, right? I mean, lockdowns and screens is the only option.
So we work like, definitely it helped at that time. But we just have like 2 to 3 months of experience without COVID. And of course, these were the, first of all, I was working with this person. So I was working with a company based in Brisbane. So I was there on Google Meet a lot. And I had a good connection with the team. I was one of the 2 Indians who were working there. So I knew that online works really great. Like at that time, Meet was not that popular, but I was using it a lot. So there were people who were fine with it, but of course, mass adoption of online video calling was not there. They just knew WhatsApp video calling, which doesn't help us. Later on, people knew the solutions exist. Nobody was asking, "Acha, how will the video call happen?" You won't realize a lot of people didn't know video calling on laptop before COVID, but so that really helped. In India, we are not sure of what's going on exactly, being honest. We know US, UK, Canada. In India, we are not very sure what's going on. But globally, people are fine coming to screens, spending some time on screens. Nowadays, screen quality is also getting better and better. Less straining to the eyes, which is very good. So yes.
I came to know that maths is also involved in this. Now you started. Before, fun mathematics, Vedic mathematics and abacus were used to learn quickly and fun way of learning maths. Now AI has started, artificial intelligence tools. So is there any fun methods of learning coding also?
Yeah, so I think coding itself is very much fun if it's taught in the right manner.
Is it so? I don't know. I feel coders are a different breed altogether, because I cannot wear semicolon, because we used to have C++ classes, and I can do anything but not coding.
I think that's the idea. It's like a muscle memory. I think coders, they don't really care about columns and all. They are thinking about the logic, building the algorithm, and that comes naturally. It's like a language. Right now, you're making a C, okay, but you are moving your pen in a semicircle. You're not thinking that. You're thinking C, you wrote it C. Simple. Just like that coding. That's why we believe it should be introduced early. That it becomes so much part of their muscle memory that their ideas can flow in that code. And yeah, coding wise, in coding what we do is, we make it very project based, very micro projects. Our first demo that we did, we started in December, November. So we asked kids, you see this greeting card? HTML, whoever knows HTML, CSS पे simple greeting card था. Christmas greeting card. We asked them, how do you share it? Then we asked them, how many of you think you can make it? They said, no, we don't know. HTML, CSS, what is it? It was opening Google Chrome. You can send it and people will open and this will glitter. It's a greeting card. In 1 hour class, they learned how to make a simple greeting card using HTML and CSS. And later on, they add their own features. They added animations, they added their family pictures, and they sent it to their relatives. We didn't teach them. They learned on their own. So that's what the whole hypothesis was. You just put that fire, put that spark, and they will learn on their own, and that worked. So
No. So what's the lifetime of a customer then? Is it that user, for example, once discovers, learns, and then he leaves platform, or he keeps on learning on Kodiyang?
So we have created 11-year-long curriculum for kid. So they start with the basic logic and then move to, even like if they're in 8th, 9th grade, they actually move to the stage where the real developer is coding. So that's how we are teaching kids. So it's like the entire 4, 5, 6 years they can learn with us. So that's how it is. But I think that was the idea also, that we wanted to introduce it as a hobby rather than being it very, very serious. Ki yaar, I'm sitting in front of computer, I have to do something, I have to code something. So rather than that, we wanted to introduce as a hobby. Yeah, fun activity, you can say. And that way only kids learn, we have seen. And in fact, if you see our programs also, how they're designed is ki in the last 6 sessions, you have to think of your own idea, create that own idea. So that's how it has been designed. So last 6 sessions are just dedicated on that particular thing, that you think of some idea, you want to create some website. So I'll tell you some examples. So I think during COVID only, one kid actually created a website where she listed the entire products of her shop online, because the shop was closed, shut down during COVID. So that's what she did, and then she started, and I think that article also came in.
you can read it in Mint.
Mint pe you can read in. So I think that is how we wanted to create that also, that kids should be creative enough to think, what can I do with this particular thing? So that's how it is.
We are learning from you, so we are okay to sit. I see the time, it's almost 2 hours. Very, very sorry. Very, very sorry for this, but I think I'm still getting a question in my mind, but I'll ask one last question. You said that most of your leadership team is older than you, but you're younger. But for me, for example, all my leadership team is younger than me, but I get to learn so much from them. Probably in your case, the leadership team might get an ego. I don't know. I mean, sometimes it might happen that, "Arey yaar, I am elder and I know, arey isko kuch pata nahi," kind of thing, right? How has your learning been from learning from young people, or what I'm thinking, is it wrong? Like older people also do contribute constructively and no egos. Do you feel sometimes they feel that, "Arey yaar, I know better," kind? Or and what your experience has been from the younger lot?
I think when we just got started and when we hired some of the senior folks, so we were also not I will not say nervous. We were thinking, how will things go? How I should be, how, if I totally leave away my responsibility, it's not right. There's a responsibility we both have, no matter the age, even if we are 15-year-olds. Yeah. If the responsibility is there, responsibility is there. I think it worked out really well. Ego-wise, we never had ego, they never had ego. Ultimately, I just wanted that this place should be, people-wise, it should be a very comfortable place. Okay. So we made it comfortable for them, they made it comfortable for us. But work-wise, it should be challenging. And whenever we discuss, we just discuss openly. So some ideas there, we don't hold back. Oh, I am the younger, I am the older. No, it doesn't matter. Even if the new analyst comes and discuss an idea, it's fine. As long as the person is having the full context. And even if the person is not having, like any new person joins in a mid or senior role, they feel little, once one told me, see, I can ask stupid things, I can suggest stupid things. Go ahead, nobody cares. Stupid hoga bata denge, this, actually you don't know about this. Don't take it on your ego, we won't take it on our ego. I think it worked out really well. I personally don't invest a lot of time thinking about it. That's the thing. I really don't think, and you also don't think, invest a lot of time thinking about it. Just go with the flow. Ultimately, we have to win. Just like a sports team and cricket team, they really don't care who's senior, who's junior.
But for what roles do you choose to hire an experienced versus a fresher? For example, in my case, when a lot of time the team it's a first-time job, so they will not have a reference of an older process that they have run in a company and to build that process, right? Then you have to reinvent the wheel. So with the new talent, it is first job, you'd end up reinventing the wheel, or you say, okay, let me have a mix. Let my managers be all experienced guys. So what's the best that could work?
I think even when you hired senior people, we never hired with the same experience. Right. I think it's just about, in the initial stages, you should hire generalist, They can be senior, junior. In later stages, you should try hiring specialist. That's how I see it. Age-wise, I don't see it much, but you know what's most critical. I think the thing that come with experienced people, positives and negatives, possible positives and possible negatives. Luckily, we never had these negatives. Positive is we found them to be more reliable. Because they have gone through this, and after 10 years of 12 years of grind, you are reliable if you're good. That is one thing that really stood out. And younger people sometimes are very energetic, but sometimes they get stuck into the somewhere and or have their own emotional upheavals. After a certain experience, you just kind of are very comfortable with your own emotions. You don't feel like someday they are giving very low work and someday they are giving very high. That one thing I see in younger people. Of course, the energy is there and dynamism is there, and also you also as a company has an advantage that somehow they need you more than you need them. They can learn a lot more in the company, and that shows up in their work. Like if a younger person is coming and working in the company, so it's like you are giving them a lot, so they also give their best. With an older person, it's like they are more reliable. That's it. Second thing, the pitfall can be there is that if they're coming with a lot of baggage, that's really a deal killer. I think people should be with baggage should not be there. Chalo, I'll tell you our best operating roles, functions in the company. One of them is sales.
Okay.
We don't even have only one person out in a team of 100 people. Only one person is a lateral hire. Everybody was hired as an intern and grew in the company, and it's one of the best functioning function.
Meaning, you would say you hired them as an intern,
Yeah.
and then
They joined us as interns or freshers from college, and then
We have a very good org in sales. Okay. We didn't want any baggage because the way EdTech sales was going in the country, we didn't like it.
yeah, right.
We
wanted to change that.
We wanted to change that. Our churn, when I tell people that this is our churn in sales, they don't believe it. It's so low, they don't believe it. They say, show me the data. I said, this is the data. See, they don't believe it. Okay, how the churn can be so low? How can you have people working for so long? How can you have, like if you hired 50 people and 45 of them or 40 of them are ended up working to be really great. They don't believe these numbers because that's not how EdTech sales works. So for there we kept this. But other functions we have experienced people like growth, like customer experience now. Customer experience in the start it was built by very young people. Then now we have a very senior person there because now we need this processes, ticketing system.
To manage that scale, you need somebody. But I think ultimately, what I feel is it doesn't matter what age or what, like how young or how experienced you are. Ultimately, I feel the person who is fitting into your culture is the most important. And whenever we are hiring also, we see it very clearly that this person will be able to contribute. Is this person ready to build with us in terms of like, is that person sold on our vision and he or she would want to build with us for long term, then only we hire them. So that's the, I think, whole idea, and that person should be aligned with you in terms of how you are thinking about a particular problem or how you want to solve things. And the same way, if that person also thinks, leadership team specifically, they will actually give the same energy or emotion to the entire team. So that's where I feel that culture is more important even than the senior person.
We don't invest so much time thinking about it. We don't even realize it. Like we don't realize about genders in the company, being honest. Somebody was telling me 50%, more than 50% of people, we don't even realize that. Just like that, we don't even stopped realizing age. It was something that I used to think about in this very start when we just hired them. But eventually I know that what do they expect from me and what should I expect from them. They expect, no matter how young we are, but they expect direction from us, that we give. We give them an overall perspective how the company is doing, and they are doing their work, and we have a good equation.
So as an ending note, if you can advise all of us, especially the team members, as to what should it mean building a product, building a startup, and why should they keep invested in this journey with me? And if you can tell them that your journey has been great, and I basically want you to kind of share them that how the journey, how you loved the journey, and what it could mean for them. Entrepreneurs is what I would suggest they are.
Exactly. I think, ultimately, what we gain, say, in our working life and even in life is is how you become. Every other gathering in terms of your salary, in terms of bank balance, anything, that is very secondary, that is very temporary also. It can go up, go down. But what person you become, that's the biggest asset you have. And I think this is a place where you can really focus on that what you become. I always say that don't work good, or don't push yourself to give great outcome, not just because somebody wants it, but that becomes a part of you. That becomes a working attitude. Like, even if you do small thing, do you seek excellence there? That becomes the second nature, and build that, just focus on that. And I think working in a young startup, we're a very young team, 60 members, 70 member people are there, and always comes, morning you come in the office, you say you are going to play a game there. You're going with a strategy. What I have to do. Don't just think, okay, I'll see my emails and do. No, go with your own strategy. What needs to be done today. And be very clear with your team that what are the goals. I think clarity of goals is very important, and just make sure you have clear goals and just go with full speed, like you're playing a game. I think don't just be a passive person, and come with a strategy, collaborate well, be a positive force in the company, and just make sure, because you are here, the place is better in all the terms, in terms of performance, in terms of culture. And do it for yourself, I'll say. Do it for yourself, because what you do will become part of you. And that's the biggest asset. There's no other asset.
Yeah. And I think one more thing I would like to add to this, I think when you work in a big MNC versus when you work in a startup, there is a lot of difference in terms of how your growth is happening, because you will see yourself, I think after 2 years or 2 years down the line, you'll see that what kind of person I've become. Like, you'll not shy away from taking up challenges. One thing, I think that is the big thing. You want that confidence in your life that I can do anything. And that's what you gain when you work in an early age startup, because you are just on a daily level firefighting on a lot of things which you can't imagine in your, like, a bigger company, I would say, because you'll be directed to a certain role, you'll be doing that certain role. So this is the time, or this is the opportunity where you can take up bigger things, or push yourself to work harder, or to do meaningful things, I would say. So I think that in itself is a transformational journey when you become a part of an early age startup, because you learn so much that in your career of 10 years, maybe you wouldn't have learned what you would have learned in 2 years. So for me also, Codeyoung has changed like my life, because in terms of last 2 years, what I could have learned, I don't think I could have learned somewhere else in the next 10 years also. So that is I think that should be the biggest motivation factor.
And that's the biggest asset we have.
Yeah.
We don't care about anything. I personally don't care about company's valuation, bank balance, nothing. But what it has taught me, like, I think we can go through the hell smiling.
Yeah.
And how many humans can do that? Very few. And I'm one of them. I feel very good about it.
Right, so 300 member team, another 300 member teacher partners, a 600 member team. I mean, it's an amazing job, I think, what Shailendra and Rupika have built along with their team. I think we should give them a big round of applause, guys. They started from here, now they have got their own, they've got a space for themselves, correct? That's how it is.
Yeah. Thank you, and I would like to thank Dhanraj especially. I think it was great, because we generally don't get time to think also like what we have built, etc. And it was great to share with all of you, and I think it's great to connect. So looking forward for more this kind of events, maybe. Yeah.
Thank you so much.